NSE podcast live, of course. It will always be live. I don't know why I said that. But I am Princey, and I am joined, of course, by Drumsels. Who else
Good
would it
evening,
be?
everyone.
And we've got Hackerby here too,
Hello.
helping out with the stream. So our main aim of tonight is just to go through the big teams, what happened last season, what we expect to happen this season, everyone's predictions, and sort of just get an overview, get an insight into what we think might happen throughout this NSE season of hopefully good Rocket League. Because I mean,
Oh yeah.
last semester was great. It ended amazingly. We had some big upsets, big game sevens. Both semifinals were amazing in like the championship bracket. So obviously hoping for something along those lines once more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been a lot of shake-ups in the off season. There's been a lot of the major teams have either gone up or gone down, or lost some key players or gained some key players.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of speculation needs to be done as to some of the positions of some of the teams and the performances and lack of.
Yeah.
Indeed. I'd say we can start talking about the two big teams, but the two representatives for each team who will be joining us aren't quite yet here. Will that stop us, or should we just go for it? What do you guys think?
I reckon wait for them. They
Yeah.
said they wouldn't be too long,
Yeah. Jody
Okay,
says he'll
so
be here in a minute, so
but that gives us some time to have a quick recap of what happened at the end of last season. So last season ended with well, first it's the beginning of the end, if you will. Was the top quarterfinal was Sussex Hammerheads versus Newcastle Octanes,
yes.
and they had finished fourth and fifth respectively in the championship bracket, and ended with a pretty convincing 4-0 sweep. Sussex, of course, being let me check the roster. I should know this by now.
it was Distant, Fisk, and I'm Private at the time.
Yes, and now TJX, an
Is
almost
coming in.
1800 player, has taken the place of I Am Private.
Well, that's to be spoken about on a deeper level later on in the podcast when we actually get Distant joining us.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
But, yep, they took it 4-0 over Newcastle. And in the lower quarterfinals, Lancers A were 4-1 by Loughborough Lions. That was Loughborough finishing sixth, the lowest team in the championship bracket, taking out the third place finishers in 4-1.
Yeah, and we obviously know how Loughborough continued on. They, I think this is probably the series everyone remembers from last semester. The semi-final, Loughborough played Salford. Salford 3-0 up in games, and Loughborough somehow come back with the reverse sweep to make it obviously to the land final as well. And that was, I think at the time, no one expected it to be so one-sided to Salford. And then no one thought at the end, Loughborough could turn it round, but they did that. And they did that with obviously Matt M, Lou, and Smokey. And as soon as Matt M is able to join us, it's one of the big talking points is Smokey will no longer be playing for Loughborough this semester. So they're going to have to be bringing someone up from their B team. I believe it is TDB. But, it'd just be interesting to get his insight into how that might change the team, their tactics, their sort of play style, because it was always Matt M and Smokey being the offensive two, sort of leaving Lou a bit further back. But TDB is a bit more defensive himself anyway, so we could see a very different Loughborough lineup.
Yeah, and I feel like every single stream we've had since that semi-finals, we've talked about the reverse sweep. And I think some of the Salford lads are getting a bit sore about it, so...
It's just got to be mentioned, though, hasn't it? It's like just one of the biggest things to happen.
It was pretty huge. Can't deny that. But, yeah, then when another 4-3 occurred in the other semi-final, Portsmouth Paladins, the top seed, taking down Sussex, who we mentioned 4-0'd Newcastle, 4-3. And that was also a fantastic series to watch. I think every single game in the finals was just amazing to be able to commentate and to watch.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I think the difference with the Sussex Portsmouth game was that it was a lot more nitty gritty. There was a lot more back and forth. It was a slow burner where one team would just have the edge in that one game and then the other team would take it in the next game. Sort of that continuing. And yeah, as you were mentioning earlier, Sussex will be having a slightly changed roster, getting this newer player in, but they obviously could do even better than before, losing out 4-3 and just missing out on that final to then put obviously Portsmouth and Loughborough through to our finals. That LAN, pretty sure most of you who would be tuning into this probably watched it. At least I'd hope so.
Yeah. I've just got word that Geordie Unknown is ready to join us. So if we can get him in, that would be awesome.
I think he's going to be a second, but I believe this is Geordie with us now. It is
yes,
indeed.
it is.
Hello, boys.
Hello, Geordie.
You all right?
Yeah, and how are you doing today?
Yeah, all right. The fucking storm Kira has been ruining my internet all day. So I've been dropping in and out, so it's been a bit annoying.
I hope that holds out.
Yeah, I think everyone's been having issues with that today. I know, playing with DMAC earlier. He's coming in later, obviously, to join us. He was having problems.
Yeah.
So maybe not the best time, but we've got nothing else to do with a giant storm going on outside. So, have a chat about Rocket League.
Yeah.
And we obviously have you in here, one of the winners from last season's NSE semester. No roster changes, of course, but I think you guys have a bit of news regarding Esper and his rise to fame almost.
We've had no roster changes at all, but Psycho himself has actually he's peaked at 2050 MMR, which is quite impressive. And Esper's also recently just hit 1800. And he then lost it, went down to back down to 1630 or something, and then now he's back up to 1800 again.
Oh wow! So quite a ride.
I'm now the bad boy in the in the roster.
And where are you currently sat?
Crazy considering how far. I've always obviously since all the other seasons, apart from this season, I've always been the main player, but now I'm being overshadowed.
And you're 1700 around 1750.
I got I think it was 1730 or something peak this season so far, but I should be able to maybe get that up a little bit more.
I mean, technically on paper that still puts you as pretty much the top seed.
Yeah, I think otherwise we are probably the top seed. I mean, there's a lot of new good teams that have actually gained a couple of very interesting players, which should put a very put up against a hard match. But I think on paper we'll still beat them.
Any teams and players in particular that you're worried about?
Well, I'm still worried about the Sussex, the Salford. I'll be interested to see what Nottingham Trent can actually do if they do have their new third. I mean the Brighton that beat us before, when we had that awful week. I'll be interested to see how far they can actually come this season, having a very decent roster straight off the bat.
Yeah, and just after that we have Matt M coming into the chat now. So everybody say hi to Matt.
Good evening.
Hello, Matt.
Buddy. Hello, mate. Hey, Jordy.
Is this the first time you two have spoken since that NSE final?
It is actually, I think.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, and
are you over it?
No, not really. I'm still quite emotional over it, to be honest. I'll never forgive Jordy for being good.
Sorry, I mean,
just for people who weren't, for whatever reason, watching that final, Portsmouth managed to get through 4-3 in a really long, tense game. So just giving the setting the scenes pretty much for it. Matt, you we were just talking about this earlier before you showed up. Obviously, you're losing one of your big players in Smokey.
I know. It's very sad, really. I promise you, we didn't bully him, and that's why he left. Yeah, he has personal shit going on, so he won't be playing. I don't think he'll be playing this season. He might, but I don't think so.
So who's your new third then? Have you actually cemented one yet?
Yeah. So TDB will be making his return to the A team.
Classic.
And I don't think he'll be getting kicked out in week 3 this time. So, no, we played some games a couple of days ago, and he's looking actually really solid. So I'm feeling a lot more optimistic than I was when I heard Smokey is leaving.
How would does a change like that? I suppose it obviously would change your play style because you're losing, a pretty ones heavy mechanic based player to someone more defensively threes minded in TDB over Smokey. Does that then change the play style that you'd be using, or do you think it'd be pretty much the same?
Yeah, it definitely does. It does change it because as you say, like Smokey has a lot of different play styles to Tom. So for me, it's more like I've got to kind of adjust to what we're doing. But I actually really like the way Tom plays. Quite rotation oriented and quite position oriented, and that's kind of how I like to play as well. So for me, it's not. I don't think it's a bad change in that sense in terms of play style. But it will be different because obviously Smokey, just pop off and score nutty shit off the at random. So you are losing that. So it's going to be a bit of change.
Okay, and where do you see yourself finishing then? Do you still think you'd be fighting for the top spot?
There's a lot of like really good new teams, and like Salford was obviously they were starting to look really good at the end of last season, and they're going to be super solid. Portsmouth are going to be super solid this season. Nottingham Trent are really looking really solid as well, and I think there's maybe Sussex as well. I think someone says looking quite good. So obviously there's a lot of really good teams, so it's going to be tough, but like don't count us out. That's all I'll say. We're still going to be good, I think. So we'll see how we do. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I can't really say where I think we're going to finish, but we'll see how we go.
Just awkward silence in the middle of the stream.
It was so awkward. I actually thought my internet died again.
No, that was it. That was my piece. I don't really want to put a number on it.
That's fair enough. I mean, you've not put a number on any other team, so.
Yeah. I mean, Portsmouth are going to be super solid, and I still think they're probably the best team going into it. In terms of they've all played together, and they've got the win under their belt. I still think they're the team to beat. No matter what the MMRs may say, if there's any team with a higher MMR, they're still the team to beat 100%.
Juicy.
So, Geordie, we have your predictions for this upcoming season up on the screen here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there any sort of, are you confident in that's how you think the season's going to play out, or do you think there were any teams that you think, actually, I'm not so sure?
Well,
I love how he's got himself first, by the way.
Yeah, you got to back yourselves at the end of the day. You got to back yourselves. I mean, Sussex, I think I saw when I was looking at like the different notes, they added someone who's nearly 1800 TJX apparently. So that to me almost like should like how well Sussex played last time. This to me should definitely make them at least second or third. I mean, I didn't know whether to put Salford in second or not. But those are like my top 3 teams, and then to be honest, anywhere around like the 4th to 8th mark, they're pretty much like all the same. But yeah, as some people are saying, I do not rate Lancaster. So yeah.
Interesting, because Lancaster over the last like 3 years or however long this has been going have been one of the consistently like highly rated teams always finishing somewhere in the top of these tournaments. Do you think? What do you think is going to change for this season?
I think the Tylacto backpack isn't big enough.
Ooh, that's big.
Put that on a headline.
I also see you've got quite I think they're quite, out of the blue shots of Kiel being 6th and Staff 7th, teams that took a while to get going and get to National League in the first place. And you've got them finishing quite high up. Why have you stuck them there?
I think it's mainly just all the kind of like the different like notes that Sceneris has just like let us see. I mean, apparently Staffs have like a team of like mid 1700s ish, which I guess it could help with actual like team synergy, not having one player who is just going to completely stand out and smash everything. So that'll probably help out, I think.
Just on that note, Staff's 2 of those 1700 players in Wes and Jackson, I don't believe are playing for them this semester. So their first team's actually going to be consisting of Taysuna, Adaro, and then either Bread or Loza.
Oh, okay. So that's good.
So I think that might change your opinion a bit.
That would definitely change, yeah.
Yeah, Adaro and I'm not too sure about Bread, but I know Loza is.
I know Adaro is a really good player.
Consistently good, yeah. So I wouldn't, they're not going to be like bottom of the league or anything.
No, I mean that. After you've said that, I would definitely say that they're not in the top 10 anymore.
Okay,
they're
who
probably
would you
still
throw in their place?
I would either throw in the new Yui with Sebadam, or I would throw in like probably a Lancaster in the end. Yeah,
That's
get Lancaster would sneak in.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to talk about actually. Sebadam coming in here, very, very strong player, and we've seen him before in the past in Rocket League Esports. What do you think about him coming in, you guys?
Who wants to talk? Matt, come over. You can talk.
Come on, Matt.
Sorry, was that Sebadam?
Yeah,
Sebadam joining Yui.
Well, I don't really know who else they have, and I mean, you can't carry completely. So I don't know if they have any other good players, but if it's just him, I don't really back them to do well.
They definitely have 2 other Grand Champs. I think they're high 1550s or so.
It's, Incognito and Jordan.
No. They're going to be like, they're not going to probably be any better than Lancaster. So if you're going over the same thing as like Geordie's saying, I don't think they're going to do particularly great. But if they, if the other 2 players can prove that they can, play at that level and do well, then I could be completely wrong. But off of what I've heard, I don't see them getting top 6. I don't think.
I mean, one thing I know, just from playing a couple games of the Uni 6-mans with him, he's always seems to be in the right position. He's a great player to play with, and I think he will make the 2 player hits he is with better than they probably are. Because he's sort of the glue, like Tylacto, the glue that sort of gels the teams together.
No, absolutely. Like Tylacto, he is that guy who he always has boost. He's always in the right position. He's reliable to always be there, but. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see how their other 2 players do. For me, that's the biggest factor. Sebadam, he'll be really good. He'll do really well and do exactly what he needs to. But it's just always the question mark for the other 2 players.
That's the thing. I definitely agree with that. And by playing a few games of Uni 6-mans with him as well, I really do feel like I got carried to a victory just by him being in the right place all the time. So his positioning is really, really strong, and I think that's really going to help the team, even if they are low GCs. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they do in this coming season.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. There's loads of new players coming in, and that's going to obviously completely change the dynamic and who we know are the best teams. That's going to get flipped on its head a bit. So yeah, there's a lot of unknowns. We'll have to wait and see, really.
Okay, another silence.
I'll just cross-referencing some of the top teams from last semester and this semester. Geordie, you've left out Bournemouth. They made 8th, and you've not you've not got them anywhere near that top 10. Is that just you don't think they've improved to the rates of other teams moving up, or will it be a just miss out kind of?
From I guess the other teams have had and improvements they've had, I don't think that they've met the improvements of the other teams. But yeah, but after that, talk about stats before. I think maybe Brighton could also probably push up a little bit more as well, depending. I think Brighton and Kiel are also like very, very similar. So it'd be interesting to see what I see from them. You have Brighton as the biggest flop. Why is that?
Yeah, I spent quite a bit earlier just going through this because I realized I'd forgotten to do it, and I for so long had them in like somewhere around 5th and then 7th and then like so just moving up and down as I sorted things out, and then I was like, I don't know, I just don't think. I mean, Farrell, he's a bit tilt proof, not tilt proof. He's very tiltable. And I think I don't know. I could just see it not working out the way they planned, and then maybe he just decides, right, screw this, I'm not playing anymore. I don't know. I just see I was struggling to find a flop, to be honest. I think teams, because a lot of people, like you included, have gone with Reading, but I don't think you can pick Reading when you know you've lost 2 of your main 3 players.
Exactly. That's why I picked it, because it was easy. I didn't want to pick anyone else.
So I've tried to go a bit like out the blue and be like, right, these guys, just probably because I think egos might get ahead of them at the end of the day. But no, they do have a strong team. It's they could easily be up there in the top. It just depends. Like I think a lot of this all depends on what happened on the day, because I think for all of us, as I'm looking through, pretty much everyone's got like Portsmouth, Salford, and Sussex as the top 3, and I think after that it starts to blur.
Yeah,
and you have anywhere from like 4th through to about 14th or something, where you have all these teams fighting for those next few positions.
A lot of that comes down to the speculating on the rosters, whether each team is going to have their full team available each week. I know that Bournemouth a lot last season had to substitute in Dragon for their main squad, and Dragon's a good player, but they just don't quite have the practice, I'm guessing. So it depends on a lot of different factors that can only come down to, if they're going to be able to play properly on the day.
Just going back to Reading, I think we should mention, I said 2 or 3 players aren't going to be playing from that's Jaded and Janid. They almost sound like twins, but both of them, I think they're probably final years at uni, so it just sounds like they're hanging up their boots to focus on that. And Reading have been a team that have struggled to get in any new players at all. So I don't think we're even going to see them anywhere near National League now, which is sad because they've been one of those consistent ones that have been round and about.
It is sad.
I would like to say that Jaded is such a strong player, like a really strong player. I've had a couple of games of Uni 6-mans with him as well, and I think his positioning is really strong too. So that's all I can say. And from what I can see, we have Aaron and Diston ready to come in. So yeah.
Well, whenever they're able to join
they're ready,
us,
yeah.
Well, that was quick.
And there's Aaron. There you go.
Aaron is eager.
Aaron is eager to jump in.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going, Aaron?
It's good.
How are you feeling for this upcoming season? I know, like, you've not been putting too much time into Rocket League recently, but
oh shit, sugar! I have the stream. Hello.
How do you see this season going for you? Because obviously, I mean, I don't want to bring it up, but that thing happened last semester. You got so close to making the final, and it just slipped away from you. Do you see yourself hitting those highs again and taking it that one step further?
I mean, if we play the way we did, then yeah, probably. I can see us definitely doing the same again, but going further. We just got a scrim done actually against wait, let me check. The one with It's Magic. Is it BCU?
That's Newcastle.
Is it? I don't think it is.
No, it's PCU.
Oh, yeah, we just
there's a different Magic
with example Rottweiler and the Magic guy, and they were pretty good. They definitely look like they're going to be a threat this season. But yeah, we haven't really been playing together that much since winter. We kind of just chilled out, but now we're getting back into it. I definitely feel like we can take it further.
Well, I mean, you obviously won the 2v2 tournament that we hosted the other day.
Oh yeah, but twos is just ball chase. It's fun.
Yeah, but it's 2/3 of a threes team.
So true. Yeah, we definitely need Aski to get back into play. He's showing signs of like playing how he was before, but there's definitely the show that we haven't played together for that long.
Just for everyone who doesn't know who Salford are, it's obviously who has joined us now, and then Camo and Ask. Camo is one player who seems to have upped, at least in just the ranked standings. He's upped himself quite a bit now, hasn't he? I think he's up around 1800, chilling there.
Yeah, he's a ranked warrior.
Yeah.
Cameron's a really good player. He's definitely got potential. He has that kind of like, he's still in that kind of boy school mentality where he needs to be told what to do, but he definitely has a chance to be his own player.
Yeah, I mean, you got him down as your MVP for this season, or I mean, you've put yourself first, which
that wasn't my choice. Aski told me to. he said I didn't have faith in us, so.
I mean, yeah, we've got to take that with a pinch of salt, though, because they are obviously your team. But one addition that you've got different from your top three, at least to almost everyone else, is you've thrown in Notts Trent, and Sussex are all the way down in 6th.
Yes. I think Sussex are a really good team, and on their day they play really well. But I don't think they're. This is overall, or is this like for the league play?
I mean, this is meant to be your top 10 overall, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it depends. It definitely depends on the playoffs. Whether Sussex could win, there's a chance. Distan's a really good player, and TJX, what I've seen of him, is all right. But I don't know. It's a bit hit or miss.
And just another note then, Newcastle you've got as your biggest flop, not making top 10.
Yeah, I don't know. It was between them or Lancaster, basically, because they're both really good teams, but I think they've kind of gone down a tiny bit recently. So it's definitely between them two who makes top 10.
And one other thing to note is you've got Loughborough, but higher up than anybody else on the predictions, all the way up at 4th. Do you think the loss of Smokey is not going to affect the team that much?
No, I think Mattam can definitely take them to. They could win it again. They're a team like Sussex that could win. They just have to play on the day. But Mattam is a carry, and like as good as his other two players are, he'll definitely take them to playoffs.
So nice.
It's all good, dude. Don't worry about it.
Appreciate it. Dan was saying that no one's backing us, so we need some weed on the support we could get.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely think Loughborough are one of those teams that could just win, just because they feel like it. Like they're like a team like Sussex, who just play well on their day. So
I like your Salford #1 prediction.
Yeah, you gotta have that confidence.
No, I think it's fair. You guys are looking really good and could definitely win.
Yeah, just need to scrim more, get some practice in.
For sure.
Oh, one. I think this is just in general for everyone. Like whoever would like to pick up this question can. Warwick have missed out on everyone's predictions.
Oof.
Except for Delta Bacon, but he will be hopping in later, so maybe he can defend them then. But yeah, Warwick are in no other top. Oh, Rowe from Liverpool has got them in at 10th as well, just squeezing in. Who wants to take that up? Why are they missing out?
Who plays for Warwick?
Walden.
Is that just Walden on his own?
Walden, Alice, and Gopher.
Oh, it's fair. Yeah, they're a decent team actually, and maybe maybe they could make top. But they're another one of those teams like Lancaster, and just they're one of those lower end like 10th spot teams that could nip it. But it all just depends on how everyone's playing as a team and what the roster shuffles have done.
I changed my top 10.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, you're making me work today. What's going on?
Oh, he's kicked out. He's kicked out Lancaster for Warwick. Why?
I forgot about Warwick. They always make top. Don't they? That's why they make like top 6 every single time. They don't lose anyone, so like they haven't lost anyone.
Shit.
So
but you've just kicked out a team that have done the exact same.
Yeah, but I don't know.
We're gonna need to.
Yeah, one thing about Warwick is they've definitely got a dearth of players. They have 8 teams in the league, so if they did lose any players, then there wouldn't be any shortage of people looking to be promoted to the top team.
That is crazy. I mean, we've got 5 teams this season, which is actually incredible, considering last season we had 2. Well, actually, no, last year we had 2, and then last season we had 3, and then now we've just somehow got 5. So good for the old society.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what signups are like for this year, but we obviously had record amounts last time round, and just scrolling quickly through the spring championship, there is a good number of teams again, so we should be up in the 150 plus margin, I think, which is great. Once again.
What did we get last time?
I think it was 119 we had. Possibly, I'll have to check
So
that.
I think that was your update, right? If you want to check it on the stream, I'm not sure if I've cut that out right.
Yeah, bringing Warwick up to 8.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes. And yeah, I think that's the only change, isn't it? Who was? Oh, it was Lancaster you booted out of 8th.
Oh, is he? Yeah, it was. But I think, like you said, them and Warwick, very similar in. They've always been top 6, but no one sort of. I think it's just coming to the point now, I think, where all these new teams are sort of. There seems to be improvements in other teams, whereas these guys are just sort of staying static. I think you could throw the exact same reasoning through to Newcastle as well, which is a team that have always been near the top. And once again, if people have them in, they're like 8th, 9th, 10th, just about squeezing into the top seeds. But I think that's just on top of that as well. It's just the amount of teams now that seem to be gaining traction, finding these bigger players. Not only that, but just teams now, especially this season. I mean, I'm not sure if this is like ranked has gone south again, but there's been like at least 6 or 7 players from NSE this season who've hit new milestones of 1750 or something.
Yeah, it seems like most of the top teams have at least one, well, actually at least 2 1800 plus players, or 3 of them are all like 1700 plus. It's been, I mean, we talked about Esper getting up to 1800. We've got in Loughborough, Meow up in 1750. Aaron and Camo all the way up there. Sussex have added TJX along with the Distan and Fist combo. And that's the top 4.
Yeah. So sadly, Distan will not be joining us for tonight's stream to talk about his Sussex team. But I think as everyone's got them as top 3, they have to be mentioned, especially now that their original team of Distan, Fisk, and I'm Private is getting an upgrade in TJX over I'm Private, which is like a new, just shy of 1800 player. And obviously they just missed out on the finals last time round. They came 4th because Distan couldn't be bothered playing the 3rd place match after their long haul best of 7 shootout with Portsmouth. But yeah, they definitely are not a team to sleep on. Everyone's got them in the top 3. I think I'm the only one to have them actually winning the whole thing.
It's because you're wrong. No, I'm just that's just a bit of banner. Literally anyone like even anyone in like the top 8 could win it. It's crazy. Just the caliber has just increased so much, and it's kind of sad that it's my last year now, and I won't be able to do any more after this season, and probably obviously the summer season as well. But yeah, it's been really good. I think like yeah, it depends. I think Loughborough could actually go even higher again if they can get decent chemistry in that now that Smokey's gone as well.
Yeah, I reckon we got it, mate. We're gonna clap you.
I want to see another Loughborough final. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
You have no rematch.
Loughborough LAN.
Well, Loughborough are a team that have made LAN every time so far.
I know. Yeah.
The big thing for you guys is now you've got the pressure on making sure that continues.
I don't think there's any pressure because I feel like we're definitely underdogs this season. You know, it's more the rosters that really. It's just who decides they want to play on a team. Kind of just, it's the biggest factor on like who wins, right? So loads of good players turning up just kind of makes you an underdog kind of. And we lost Smokey as well, so I think we're definitely underdogs, but yeah, we've still got a good chance.
You were underdogs going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
You were the 6th, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean that was the same as last season as the season. Yeah, last season as well.
You always have that one slip up just beforehand.
Yeah, well, we'll try and be more consistent this season, but it's not going to be an easy feat. But TDB's nuts, so you have to just wait for TDB to score flip resets every game.
Sadly, that's not what he's known for, but
what do you mean?
I have a bit of inside. Like I'm teaming with him for the Rocket Kingdoms National Championships. Him and Supreme.
Yeah.
And just from a few like scrims and games we've had, he always seems to be the man finishing off attacks. He scores the most goals out of us because he's just there in the right position, tapping the ball in when you need him to.
Yeah, no, in all seriousness, he is actually really good. He's always been a really, really good player. And, like, I've not put him on the A team multiple times, and it's been questioned by a lot of people. Maybe he did deserve to be there certain times, but yeah, he's definitely, he's on the same level as Smokey and Lou, so it's too bad of a loss, really.
Scenarius has dropped a good question. Meow, currently ranked higher than TDB. Now, he's up at like 1750 or something, isn't he? Why has he missed out?
You got to understand we have lots of really good players that are all around the same ballpark, and I have to pick 3, right? And I can't pick them all. And some people just play rank more than others, and doesn't make them any better than other players. I don't think Dan is any better than Tom personally. Tom is TDB, but
ranked doesn't mean anything.
No, actually,
really?
believe it or not.
Oh my god.
If you're not 1800, you're shit. Actually, that's the rules. Yeah.
Damn.
So I'm at like 17 something right now, so I'm basically shit, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you replace yourself? Why don't you put me out?
I honestly might sub myself out for me out, to be honest. I just haven't got a high NFM in MR this season, so I'm really sorry, guys. I'm announcing my retirement.
You've heard it here first, ladies and
gentlemen. Oh my.
But that is a really good player. Meow, he's a really good player as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'll do very well for the B team, but I just have to pick 3 players. So. Yeah.
Do you think your team? Obviously, we've never seen a consistent Loughborough 3 throughout a season. Is this going to be the same once again?
I don't think so. I think this will be the year where we actually don't change our roster. You heard it here first. So
I say that, but it probably will very much depend on results. If you guys, aren't somehow as shocked you don't make National League for whatever reason, it's like, will we see? I mean, there's something
don't make nationals.
there's quite a out the blue, out the park kind of prediction, but just in case, like I presume most teams then would make some sort of switch. They'd be like, why has this happened?
It depends, right? You know, sometimes it really depends what the issue is. If it's just, oh, that player's just bad, then yeah. But I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be more. If it's going to be anything, it's going to be just, you know, chemistry and not being warmed up as a team and rusty. If anything, I don't have any doubts that we'll pick it up. You know, mid to end of the season. I definitely think we'll play pretty good towards the end, and hopefully give Portsmouth, Salford, and all the other good teams a run for their money. Hopefully.
Well, that's what we want to hear, and that's obviously what we want to see, because the close games, the tense games, are always the best ones to watch, to talk about, and yeah, they bring the most hype. You don't like one-sided games that just you have a runaway winner, and I think that's what was so good about the NSE finals.
I mean, it's funny because it was a lot of the games were kind of one-sided, but the series was obviously close. I think it's the LAN format's quite funny because you have these nerves that come and go between the games. You win a game and you feel confident, and the next game you shit yourself and you're nervous for the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think both teams are definitely feeling nerves at different points in the game. You kind of see that by like the score line. Some of them just, you know, being completely one-sided in each team's favor.
All right, I think that brings us to the end of this this section. Thank you to everyone for showing up. If you would like to head out now, you can.
Yep.
I know Aaron seems to be getting a bit impatient, so
yeah, he has scrims.
He's welcome to leave us now.
Yeah.
And we will be having Sir Gamble and Ferrell join us as soon as possible to chat about their respective teams. Jumzos, do you just want to give us a quick run through of those teams?
Well, those two teams will be, of course, Brighton and Bournemouth. Now, Brighton, it's been mentioned a few times, we have slept on a little bit in our predictions. Jordy's got them in 7th, and me and you don't have them in our top 10s at all.
Who is on Brighton? Just give us that, so Brighton people know.
Is Ferrell, Wardley, and Hazard. Ferrell is, well, I know we keep referencing the 6-man server, rank S. He's very, very good. Wardley is a consistent player who I think, I'm not sure whereabouts he's ranked. Do you know whereabouts?
I think he's only just about 1600. He seems to struggle in ranked, but yeah, ranked, I don't think ranked's a very good like telltale sign for people's levels anymore. I mean, I say this because I'm a kid who's only like 1600 still, but feels better than that. But you know,
you've already established MMR's everything. It matters 100%.
It does.
The only factor that matters.
And I'm off now. See you later, guys.
Oh well,
yeah,
thank you.
See you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being with us.
Cheers. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Right.
And yeah, Bournemouth, of course, consisting of Sir Gamble, Wilbur, and RW Dragon, who I think is now on the starting lineup for Bournemouth, and has always been apparently. I need to correct what I said earlier. He's been on the starting lineup for Bournemouth since week 2 of the Winter Series, I think.
Yeah, I think one of them. I can't remember who that original player was for the 3, but yeah, Dragon came in soon after, and has been in the team since. And we have both. Well, we've got Sir Gamble with us first.
Yeah.
I don't know where Ferrell just disappeared to. I think he got brought in, but he's gone. Hello, Sir Gamble.
Yes.
He is muted.
Muted? Oh no.
Goodbye, Sir Gamble. He
no.
doesn't seem to be around right now. But yeah, it'd be great to hear what Sir Gamble thinks about everyone's predictions, because Bournemouth are a team that have missed out on most.
Yeah, there's again, they've not really made their way into any of ours. Let's see. Let's scroll along and have a look at where they've put themselves.
I mean, in the meantime, if Ferrell is here, hello, Ferrell.
Hello, Ferrell.
Good evening.
If he's here,
yeah,
he can
he's
himself.
No, he's left.
Gone again. I don't know what's going on here. Sorry, everyone. If you
Yeah.
seem to either have communication issues where they can't unmute themselves, or
It's a weird one.
yeah.
The channel permissions are correct. They just need to leave and rejoin.
Thank you. Word from Big Boy Sin there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing some technical difficulties.
Like as in actually the voice chat.
Oh well, they seem unmuted now, I think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they're in the help waiting room.
Yeah, I know
you two, I believe you two need to leave voice chat temporarily to then rejoin, and you should be okay.
Yeah.
If you can hear me, Feral and Sir Gamble.
Oh, there we go. Feral's here. Hello, Feral.
Sir Gamble.
Yeah, it's right.
And Sir Gamble. There we go.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Good evening.
Good.
Good.
All right, who should we start with? I think we'll start with Sir Gamble. You and Bournemouth.
Right. So what do you want?
Not on many people's top 10 lists.
I think the main reason we have this problem is that reading week happened through the when we're in the nationals, and we just completely dropped out of it because we had no players at the time. Everyone was gone. So because of that, we never got a chance to show how good we actually are till the end, where we just pretty much beat everybody apart from Brighton. I mean, it's annoying, but we prefer being the underdogs. Our style of play is more counter-attacking rather than possession. So yeah, it just suits us. There's no pressure at all on us now. And as well, we actually have had quite a few improvements. While the break's been on, Dragon's now hit 1600. We've got 2 people from the second team hit GC, so we are going to be coming into the season a lot stronger.
All right. So where do you see yourself then ending? Obviously everyone wants that first place, but if you had to be realistic, where would you?
Ideally, we want a strong showing in the National League. Anywhere in top 10 would be lovely, but it just depends on how good our chemistry still ends up being this season and how we play against the newly formed teams, because there has been a lot of other changes going on. But I think we should be a lot better. We're still one of the top teams in the South. I don't see too much of a change with that. So it just depends on how we compete against the other top teams in the North.
Have you been playing much together in the off season?
We've had a couple of sessions, but as I'm third year, I've been focusing a lot more on exams, so I haven't had much of a chance. But the rest, both the other two have been playing quite a bit together, so that's fine.
So you think they've got kind of a duo synergy going on?
Yeah, I hope so. But I mean, yeah, they're playing a lot better now than they were in the first season. We've had a lot more tournament practice now, so I think nerves which we had in the few of the matches against the top teams aren't going to be there as much this season. So I mean, with me, I had a lot of consistency issues in the big matches, but this season it should be much better, I hope.
All right. And on the note you said where you got taken down by Brighton in that challenger bracket, I think it's time to get Feral in here. How's it going, Feral?
Oh, it's not bad. Yourself?
I'm good. I mean, besides me, I think you are on most people's top 10 lists. I just was trying to go a bit different.
I'll be honest, I'm a bit surprised when people actually put us on the list, to be honest, because there's a lot of new talent coming through. And I don't know, because honestly, there's too many to choose from at this point, from what I saw from the list. You got Sebdown coming in, you got Rottweiler example for Birmingham. I mean, and then Portsmouth from SPH 800, Bournemouth with Dragon. It's literally everyone stepped their game up a ton as well. I've kind of really declined, really, so I don't know. We could have a good chance, but I'll tell you one team I did sleep on though was Southampton. They really surprised me in the the promotion match because we actually lost them before the week after where we actually beat Bournemouth to make nationals. So
Southampton, of course, being Rocks, Eddie, and Dark Sun.
yes, that's like a 700 team in it average. So
yeah, I think they finished.
Didn't you guys get Hazard pretty late on in your season last semester?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, technically, you're still sort of got that new player vibe almost because it was just for like the last 2 or 3 weeks that you had Hazard join you.
Yeah. Funny enough, his first game was actually against Portsmouth, and we were the first team to beat them. all of them.
Yeah, that definitely gives you good hopes because Portsmouth won the whole thing. So if you can beat the winners, then pretty much you can beat anyone. So like, I mean, I don't think anyone's got you in their top 3, but yeah, it's very much possible. I think it's just so close to rank almost nowadays. Like back when I was playing, it was pretty easy. It was just like simple. It was simple to be like, okay, it's Loughborough and Lancaster, and then it was nice and Hull and Reading. I think they were like the main 5 or 6, but now you've got about 15, 16 teams all fitting into that same category.
Pretty much.
But I think you can flip a coin for most of them and just see where you end up.
It pretty much is just like who turns up on the day, really. That's literally anything you can really hope for. Like, I'd say for the Challenger bracket when we played, because we had to sub in for Seoul for most of it, and we nearly lost to Kiel because Matt Hazard didn't actually know that we had it on. But thankfully, it literally came in at game 4 and we were 2-1 down. Yeah, and we won. No, it was best of 7 actually. No, my bad. 1-2, whatever. But we were 1 game from losing, and then he came in, and then because that new player, because he was a big improvement from Seoul. We just destroyed him again, really, and that happened. So that was good. But it's literally because Kill, we didn't expect it. They just came guns blazing. K3, fucking sorry, don't mind me. K3 just absolutely went ham. We all pinned in, and then the player change did help, to be fair. But I mean, it's just too close to call these days. So yeah.
I just want to talk about under your biggest flop. But yeah, I think it's cut off a little bit at the bottom on stream, but it says probably us if I keep throwing / go home during big games.
Oh, sorry, that will be fixed. There you go.
You want to go into that a little bit more?
One of the national matches. Actually, no, it was when we promoted to National League ages ago, and I went home for the first week, and they lost. Wardley and Co lost 0-3 and got demoted, and we struggled to climb back up. So if I didn't go home for that, we would have been fine if we would have stayed. We were kind of 2-1 or 1-2, and we would have demoted. But unfortunately for that, yeah. But there's also been other times. Sorry, going to interrupt you there. But there's some other times as well where some games I'll be popping off and just scoring stuff, and all of a sudden I just can't hit the ball or I just own goal for the entire game. So it's just it's literally I'm the flip of a coin. I'm either okay or I'm terrible.
So is that why you've got yourself down as a modest 9th place in your predictions?
Yep. I'm praying for the full. Well, I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but in the case I do flop, then that will probably a good accurate prediction. So, but I would like to be higher, but knowing me, I probably could choke it. So,
fair enough.
Need a bit more confidence, man.
It got hit in play-ins today, so I don't know about that. Confidence.
You still made the top 1-2, That's nothing to be be sad about. You even got, what was it, round 4? I think was it you went out. If I had a quick look at you guys.
Losers round 3. Pretty sure it was top 64. I think.
Yeah, it's the top 64, mate. You've only got the 10 teams of RLCS, and so that's top 85 something teams in Europe. It's nothing to be sad about at all, mate.
True. Yeah, pretty sure that now you say it.
Is that the first time you've made it there that far as well?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh.
Last 2 times. Well, the first time I made top 128. I was away, so I couldn't play. We couldn't play, so we just DQ'd. Second time we just choked first round, both winners and losers. So.
Right, so you're still on the up then.
Yeah,
give it a few more. Give it a couple more seasons, then you'd fight in for the top 12. Then
pretty much. So yeah, it's just
getting
a big grind.
Closer and closer. Yeah.
Just a really big grind in it.
Right. I believe that brings us to the end of this section. We will now be moving on to Lancaster and Newcastle. I think these are 2 teams everyone is now starting to sleep on. The teams that we don't really expect too much out of because their improvements haven't been to the same level as the others. I'd just like to thank once again Farrell and Sir Gamble for joining us.
Yep.
And
thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, Drums. Do you want to give us just a quick run through of the 2 teams, Lancaster and Newcastle, before we get DMAC in here to join us about them?
Lancaster is a team that I think probably anyone watching this would know. It's of course Tylacto, ex-RCS player, Deleterious Mac, who has been on the team since as long as Tylacto has, and has come a long way, and Films 3, who is being listed as 1 or 2 players as MVPs or breakout players, because he's come a long way recently himself. And the other team, of course, being Newcastle, one of the top 6 from last season, along with Lancaster, consisting of Rafro, Jeff, and Daxaru. Rafro, also a professional player, and Jeff and Daxaru, pretty darn good themselves. So I believe we have Deleterious Mac waiting to jump into the chat with us. And there he is.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah. Hello.
Just want to say thank you once again to Farrell and Sir Gamble for joining us.
Yes.
Yes, no worries. Cheers, boys. I'm gonna head out then, so I'll see you later.
Cool.
Catch you later, mate.
All right, see you.
See you.
So DMAC, the team people are sleeping on now, it seems. Lancaster.
Yeah. I'd just like to remind everyone that at the end of last league play, we were 3rd in the table. We're good at league play, we just choke playoffs. So I am a bit upset by the omission from a lot of people's top 10s.
I would like to point out that we both have you as 4th. So
yeah,
I appreciate
sleeping here.
You've got casters with you. Casters are on your back.
Yeah.
But honestly, there are so many good teams this season that we could even drop out of the top 10, to be honest. I don't see it likely, but we've made our own improvements. Film's getting a PC. It's going to be huge for us.
Okay.
I can't imagine trying to play games like that on a PlayStation with horrible input lag.
Oh, I'm on PlayStation? Oh no. Oh no.
And I definitely feel like I've come a long way, especially recently. So we haven't made the notable big changes that a lot of other teams have, but I trust that we've improved enough to stay up there with everyone else.
I mean, you don't expect huge changes in this, like between the winter and spring splits anyway. I think it's almost fortunate when a random player appears, like say for Kiel, who we'll get onto later. They randomly found Poddy, and a 1750, 1800 player just out the blue. But at that point, you almost sort of wish, why didn't they show up earlier? To give themselves a better chance in that winter split.
I would take one whenever at this point.
Oh, but who does that mean you get rid of? You don't have to answer that. Never mind. That's not good for team spirit. I'm just gonna we'll just swiftly move on.
Yeah, I was going to ask. You say that there's usually not that many big changes between winter split and spring split. Deleterious Mac putting Nottingham Trent first on his predictions for this season.
Well, I couldn't be too boring, and certainly on paper they look very good. who knows if they'll be able to field the best possible roster. And I feel like Misty is a player that's been slept on by a lot of everyone, even in the bubble scene and in NSE. So I have faith in him to captain that team to a decent standing, whether it be first or somewhere else in the top 10. I think they've got a good chance.
Yeah, Misty, Nottingham Trent, of course, consisting of Misty, who, as you mentioned, he's an incredibly good player, a player for Aeriality coming over from APL, and Instinct and Johnny, who are both 1800 plus. So on paper, like you say, a very stacked team.
I think the big thing there, though, is we're unsure whether Johnny will be their third. And I mean, for me especially, I took him not being the third as part of my predictions and them having Roof instead, who is still a very solid player. I think he's up around 1600, low 1600 or something. Or if not that, just shy of around that mark. He's definitely a Grand Champ level player, but there's still question marks around them. That. But
without, if they only have two 1800 plus players, I'd say them and Birmingham City have very similar structures in that case, with two quite notable players and then a third that's weaker, but has to try and allow the other two to function unimpeded and try and get them the victories.
DMAC, you could help us run through Tylacto's top 10 as well, as seeing as you're here. You've only got yourselves down as fourth, but he's gone and stuck you as number one.
I wouldn't expect any less from my captain, yeah. The unbridled confidence. But I spoke to him the other day, and he told me the three teams he says are allowed to be above us this season are Portsmouth, Sussex, and Trent. Those are the ones that he believes we won't be able to quite beat, but thinks we've got the others fairly comfortably.
So the notable exception is Salford there. He thinks Salford is quite an easy team to be above.
I feel like that is because we have performed quite well against Salford whenever we've run into them. And I think our team structure works quite well against them, whereas I certainly expect Salford will beat teams that we won't be able to. And they're, because of that, have a higher overall standing than us. But University of West England, we both put in 8th, Sebadam coming in. So that's someone to watch out for.
Interestingly enough,
none of us seem to know the level of his other two players.
Interesting enough, though, he has Birmingham in 10th. Like Birmingham City all the way up in 5th, and then the other Birmingham side coming in 10th. And I think that's one no one else has put through either. So does he know something about Birmingham that the rest of us don't? Or
I know Matthew will be coming on later to talk about Birmingham, but I played them the other day, and on paper, they're not quite the level of some of the other teams in this top 10, but they had great chemistry. And Matty's improving so fast that they could easily, by the end of the season, be a real threat.
Yeah, he was your teammate as well for the recent RLRS qualifiers, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. So yeah, don't sleep on them.
Yeah.
I feel like they'll make nationals. Whether they make top 10 or if that's just wishful thinking, we're yet to see. But I expect they'll catch a few teams off guard.
Okay, could you give us slight insight on Newcastle as well? 7th and 9th for you and Tylacto.
Yeah.
I think it seems to be fitting with everyone else's predictions, just not quite, near the top as they have been previously.
So their roster's staying the same to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah.
We all know Rafa is good, and I think Jeff is particularly underrated. Dax as a striker is great when he gets the confidence. But last season, they finished 4th or 5th in the league play standings.
It was 5th.
Okay, and a lot of that was they beat us pretty much every time we ran into them. But when it came to the other teams that finished in that top 6, other than Loughborough, they really struggled. And there are more good teams now than there were last season. Every season there's more and more. So that inability to really even take close games against the top few teams is going to hit them more and more as the standard of NSE keeps improving. And it might just not be enough at this point.
Okay, I mean, I think most of us who have played any sort of NSE or just been in the 617 knows Daxter is a bit hot-headed, you could say the least. He can be a really good player if he's in the mood, but as soon as I think things go bad, as you were saying, like you can lose that man, and then that's a big sort of wall to climb. I don't think I could say anything about Raffro's comms and communication in terms of being cool-headed. It's a shame we don't have Tylacto actually here.
Raffro has very calm comms.
Yeah, I know Tylacto's ex-teammates with him as well, but yeah, like maybe he might just be able to help him keep him in check. It'll have to be one we wait and see.
But something you haven't mentioned yet is the number 4 on your list. No, so number 5 on your list, Bath, who I very nearly let slip into mine.
I'm really surprised no one else has actually brought that up. I wanted a dark horse. I fancied something a bit different to everyone else, and I think Bath are just the team to do that. I mean, obviously I was speaking to you, DMAC, when I was making my predictions, and Vex has come a long way since like the start of the winter split. I think he came in 4 weeks later after it started. They found him, and since then, like he started making steps through the rank system like nobody's business. He's now up at 1750. He's got his rank S in the uni 6-man server, and I think it's just the team that are just going to keep going higher and higher. You've told me they have really good synergy when you've scrimmed or played them.
Yeah, we scrimmed Bath when we were practicing for Rival Series because they played that together. And so I was playing with Matty and Mordisha, an average 1700 team. And even though we weren't playing great that day, they just wiped the floor with us. Their synergy is much higher than the individual player, and I think it'll really show in NSE.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, obviously, as they are my prediction. But as I don't think we have a slot to mention them, we can just go and say that Bath are Vex, as I was talking about Joel, who has been around, I feel like forever since I've been around playing NSE, and Adam G, yeah. He's one I don't know too much about, I've got to say. But yeah, the fact that they've been playing together for ages now, because they started as soon as Vex arrived, and then they became team 0 or something, didn't they? Like, because Bath have like 5 or 6 teams as well. And yeah, they played their RLRS qualifiers together, and they've been grinding throughout, and I think that's one of the best ways to like play, especially for something like this, is just to keep playing, keep learning each other's quirks and when they will go, when they won't. It's definitely a team to look out for, and I'm one who believes they will finish quite highly and catch a lot of people sleeping, I think.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, there's only 10 spaces on these predictions.
Yes.
Well, I think we've got a very eager Zer looking to get involved.
Afternoon.
So, good afternoon. Well, evening, depending on where you're watching
That works.
from. And I think that concludes our Lancaster and Newcastle portion. So thank you very much for stopping in, Deleterious Mac.
Well,
if you want, you can
chill. Yeah,
feel free to hang around.
Chill.
So
Interesting.
If you're not ready to get rid of me, then
no, you are more than welcome
No,
to stay.
definitely.
Don't worry.
Now.
Ignore Drumsels. He does not have the final say on what you can or cannot do.
It's true.
Scenarius has given you the all clear, so
Yeah.
he's also said you're smart. So mate, you've
I think you've banged it, man. I think you've done well there.
But yes, welcome, Zer. We are now going to be moving on and talking about. Well, I mean, we've mentioned Notts Trent, I think, throughout, but maybe a little bit more on them, and then of course your team, Birmingham City.
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit about them. Are you playing? Are you playing still?
I am playing. I'm playing for the second team, BCU Orange, so the BCU Blue. Right. The happening was that Examp popped up out of nowhere. It was literally a case of I was in Uni 6 Mans, I was sitting in the waiting room, and all of a sudden Examp comes in, and it doesn't have a tag that says what uni he went to. I said, "What uni did you go to, man?" And he said, "Birmingham City." And at that point, my jaw hit the floor because we really needed another just amazing player, and it was he's peak 1900, perfect, just what we needed. So the first thing that happened was I was just like eating food. It was just really unlucky timing at one point during the NSE games, and I just said, you know what, Magic, Rottweiler example, put them in a team. I'll watch, see what happens, see how it goes. And you know what? They played just fine and ended up coming out with the Northern Champs. So that's why I just said, well, you know what? You guys play brilliantly together. Do your thing. And I've gone ahead and stuck it with the second team.
Yeah, I was actually in that. I was in that 6 Man's voice chat with you.
It was quite a surprise, wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard such instantaneous joy. You were ecstatic.
Yeah. I'm really glad that he popped up, honestly, because he's done an amazing thing for the team. Because Magic now is I think they're scrimming and they're having a good time together, and he's approaching 1600 as far as I'm aware.
Oh, that's
and he's doing a great job. I think that's what I've heard from Example. So.
Rottweiler and Example, obviously, both, 90. Well, Rottweiler, I think he's 2,000 plus MMR.
Oh, he was at one stage, yeah. I don't know if he's playing as competitively as he has from that point, but yeah, he was definitely well up in rank 1 in solos, duos.
Yeah, and like you say, Example 1900, so that's going to be a pretty scary duo to watch out for.
Yeah, lots of people expecting Examp to be the standout player coming onto the scene this season. Almost everyone looks like in their predictions have said Examp is the one to watch. And having played with him, I can understand why. Ridiculous.
He's genuinely insane. Yeah, I think he brings a lot to the table, and obviously now we've got Rottweiler who's been able to partner with, Example now, and obviously Magic, on his way up. We've got a pretty solid team out of seemingly nowhere. So.
Yeah, most people have you. I mean, not just in the top 10, but comfortably around. Like I've got you 6th, Drumsel's 5th.
Yeah,
I've got 6th as well.
Geordie's a bit lower with 8th, but you've got them all the way up in 4th. You believe in this team, and even
I believe in my boys. What do you mean? Of course I believe in my boys. I think that honestly, I've seen them play. I've seen them scrim. I've sat in chats. They've got a coach now, like literally.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going for it, and honestly,
who?
Yeah,
is it a secret who's coaching them?
Secret coach.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it secret for now.
Ghost coach.
Information. But
juicy.
But yeah, there's just there's so much going on, and it's all happening so quickly, and I just think, man, they've got something going. We definitely have something going. So.
Yeah, there's certainly no denying that both Rottweiler and Examp are incredibly good players, and if they can bounce off each other,
exactly. Yeah,
that's a way high up into the national standings.
Well, one thing I am interested in though is you don't have you've got Nottingham Trent in your top 10, but only 7th.
They're a new bunch, aren't they? And realistically, I've only been in I've only seen one season of NSE, so I don't have too much experience of playing against certain people, playing against certain teams and whatnot. Yeah. I've had to put them just in a weird spot because there's just that much sheer talent going on right now. It's really difficult to put a number on most of these teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean you've got 2 teams in 5th and 2 teams in 8th. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a bit we're up in 12 teams. So.
It's so difficult to choose what's going on. It's just because I've played with so many different players dotted about from all these different teams in 6-mans, and it's like, wow, these players are really good. Wow, these players are really good. It's obvious to see who's better than the others and who teams better with other people and whatnot. But when it comes to NSE teams specifically, it's always going to leave me in a bit of a grey area because I've never really seen, the synergies that they have or played against them too often, etc., etc.
I mean, Zia, when I was setting up your top 10 for the stream, I even screenshotted the bit where there's too much talent to decide.
Too much talent to decide.
Because I
genuinely.
really loved that. It made me laugh.
There's just so many. Yeah, it's been said before, and I'll say it again. Yeah. There's so many new players just dropping in. Like example. And it's so difficult because we've never seen it. We haven't seen it yet. Yeah. So it's this season that will hopefully decide a lot of the new positions on these tables.
A new meta coming through.
A new meta, yeah.
Fantasy.
An interesting thing you bring up. Do you need to?
No, feel free.
Like your team getting a coach. That's certainly, I feel like, a turning point in NSE. Like you see, the difference between us and CRL is that they've all got something to make them want to play as a team, whereas NSE, I suppose, we still feel like very much a ranked match of a mishmash of players going against each other. And I know Salford had another secret coach near the end of last season, so
they had
see
two. They had Speed sit in for the semi-finals, or so they had Speed sit in for one of them, and they had Tadpole previously as well, because ASCII knows people. He's got connections.
Yeah, ASCII does have contacts.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see if that can really elevate a team above the quality of the rest of NSE just by sheer synergy at that point and chemistry.
Yeah.
And well, we have you two on Birmingham City and Nottingham Trent, 2 teams that maybe because of roster changes or nerves or whatever, didn't quite perform as highly as you wanted to last season. 2 other teams that I have to mention in that respect would be UWE and UEA. So University of West England and University of East Anglia.
Yeah. Oh man, UEA is a funny one, isn't it? Because they've got Thupreme, KJJ, and Flux. Now that is a good team.
The problem is, I don't think they've managed to get Flux playing. I think he's egoed them. I was talking to Supreme earlier today.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
That's what Supreme said earlier. He's just not. He's not in the mood to play with these guys, which is it's a shame, really. That it's not.
That is wow.
We're definitely NSE is definitely getting the bigger names coming now. We've had obviously Talector playing for a while, but more and more of these bigger players are starting to join in. Sebadam's come in, Rottweiler's playing. It's a shame that even 2 1700s behind this man, and he's not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is disappointing. But it's been nice actually seeing in the Uni 6-man server that a lot of the better players have actually been willing to play that as well. We've seen Seb Damq in there a lot. Finex has been playing with people recently as well. They're actually getting involved with the community side of things as well.
Oh yeah.
It's an interesting story actually how KJJ found out about the UANSE team.
Yeah.
It was in the tryouts for Astral's IEL team.
Really?
Wow.
KJJ came in to try out and eventually got the spot. But so Astral said, a lot of people in here are NSE players, that we all know each other from that. And he asked what that was. Turns out he's at uni at UEA, and then got referred to Thupreme to suddenly have found out about NSE through a completely different means.
Wow.
there are players hidden everywhere, good players that just don't know about
Can
it.
Confirm, yeah.
I mean, yeah, we'll get on to Kiel.
I suppose that's the story of this segment. Yeah.
But Zer, you don't have a biggest flop down.
Yeah,
you don't.
I don't.
You can create a bit of tension, you know, a bit of a rivalry. I mean, you're Birmingham City. There is another Birmingham team. You know, you could have thrown them in there. Like, we're the better Birmingham side.
Oh man,
like,
I mean,
I think you're missing an opportunity there. You know,
bit of BM.
You know what? Why not? Let's capitalize on it, boys. UOB mates, UOB guys. You're not touching us, mate. You're not touching us. You know what? Yeah, can we update this? I'm gonna put them as my biggest flop now.
No. Oh. Why are you making me work like this, man?
I'm joking. No, but yeah, because we played against. I remember playing against UOB in NSE, and you know, pretty close games. I don't know if the roster was exactly the same as it was, as it is now in the notes section or whatever. But it was pretty close, and that was when it was me, Magic, and Rottweiler. And you know, I'm way weaker than Exampers, so that's hands down. So from that alone, I don't think they have it. I don't think they do. I don't.
Okay.
If you had to pick a team that wasn't Birmingham, could you and would you?
You'd pick Lincoln and come play with me. Is what you would pick.
Oh man.
I mean, a lot of people have put down Reading.
Yeah, a lot of people have put down Reading, but that's because they lost.
Yeah, I feel like we should explain why.
Yeah.
I feel like I already mentioned it earlier, but yeah, Reading lost two of their main players in Jaded and Janed. So it's only Booth left from their first team, I'm pretty sure. So I don't even know if they'll be able to field another team. I think they probably could, but I don't know if it would be a National League side that could be competing for them, which is a shame.
But even if Jaded had still been playing this season, I think a lot of us put them down as the biggest flop before even knowing that. As that team has stayed the same for so long and just slowly fallen down the standings as everyone else around them has improved. It speaks to the growth of NSE, but it's also a sad story of the team getting weaker and weaker to the point their best player doesn't even want to play anymore.
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah.
I believe they didn't actually like scrim much, or they didn't play much, and like there wasn't any synergy. People weren't too fussed. They just sort of turned up to play when they had to. But I believe Delta Bacon has just joined us from Trent, so he has a few minutes to chat about them if he's able to mute himself. There he is. Hello, Delta.
Hello, Delta Bacon.
Good evening.
So I don't know if you've been listening in or not, but we've mentioned Notts Trent quite a bit. People putting them quite high up overall in the top 10. Do you have any knowledge on what the final team is for the first team? As such,
So yeah, we're likely to be looking at naturally, you know, we're putting our best foot forward, building on the success from last season. So that'll be obviously Misty, Johnny, and Instinct. Yeah, very, very strong team, very exciting times.
Yeah, you did say on your MVP that too much talent is there, and then you put Misty with a question mark after that.
Well, yeah, there's so much talent in NSE that it's hard to choose one person who's just going to stand out from the bunch. And the reason I put Misty is more of a parts and alignment. Naturally, I go to the same university, same team. I'm possibly somewhat biased, but yeah, he's incredible.
I just want to point out you've put your MVP as Misty, a player from Nottingham Trent. Your breakout player is Instinct, a player from Nottingham Trent. But you've put yourselves as second on your predictions below Portsmouth.
Again, that kind of reflects just the quality of the league. Like it's very, very difficult to choose a winner. And whilst I think that we're going to go the distance, absolutely. There's not as much perhaps synergy that other teams will have. You know, Trent is still reasonably fresh as a team. So whilst I do think we could go the distance, as to who wins, I wouldn't want to predict, and I wouldn't want my personal bias to get in the way of that prediction.
Very understandable.
Yeah.
And have Misty Instinct and Johnny been playing together much?
As far as I'm aware, yes. Actually, university comes first for all of them, but they've they've had a couple of chances to get on and practice together. I've not been privy to those sessions, but you know, obviously with the talent that they've got, I'm sure it's just a matter of time until they start clicking.
Yeah.
So that's confirmed as well then that Johnny is actually playing for you guys, because there's been question marks about that.
Yes, there has, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to resolve those question marks for you tonight. But assuming all the administrative issues and things like that resolve themselves and people make themselves available, then yeah, like I said, we'll be putting our best foot forward. If not, we've got a very strong lineup of people who could, fit into the team quite naturally, as they did last season.
Roofy.
Yes, Roofy. Pleb Humble. I'm not sure what name he actually plays under. It changes with the hours of the clock. But yeah, we've got a lot of players who can really fit into the first team and make an impact.
How many teams do you field? Is it just because I'm guessing you're playing yourself as well? So I presume it's at least 2.
Yes, it is at least 2. I'm likely to take more of a backseat in the teams this season. Sorry. With it being my final year and things like that. But we do have a strong B team comprised of what was originally the A team last year. And they represented themselves and Nottingham Trent quite well. So, it's exciting times, not just for our A team, but also our B team.
Has there been any sort of, I don't want to say like anger from the B team at being entirely replaced on the A team by these 3 new players?
Like I'm sure everyone, has got this, a sense of pride and, being told actually we want to go with X over Y. I don't damage anyone's pride. But the thing with that, I think a lot of people that they understand why, with the quality that we've got on offer to us. I think everyone's kind of clubbed together and saying we're going to put the team and the esports society as a whole in front of perhaps personal misgivings. As far as any tension in the camp, I've not been aware of any. It's if ever anyone finds themselves on NT Games or Discord, it's always a pleasant place to be with the team. Quite happy interacting with each other.
That's really nice, actually. That's
yeah. And one quick question just before we briefly talk about
the big question.
The big question. Do you think that Trent can win the whole thing?
Oh, absolutely. Whilst I did, in my predictions I put them second, and I think I did that more from unconscious desire to not put my personal bias onto the team. But I don't think anyone can deny Trent. We've got a very, very strong lineup. A very strong B team, a very strong reserve grade. Can we go the distance? Absolutely. Can we seal the deal? I'd put money on it. Yes.
Very confident, right there.
Yeah, confidence.
Yeah. Does that depend on Johnny playing though, or do you still think you can without him?
Well, whilst I personally haven't played with Johnny, I've played quite in depth with Instinct and Misty. And just from seeing those 2 together, they're absolutely incredible, and together they lift through their communication and their almost tutelage. They lift whoever plays with them. I think we got 2 qualifiers last year with Marzi, who was a completely unknown entity at the time, and he just fit right into the team because there was a lot of people unavailable for that date. Now Johnny being obviously the MMR, the talent that he is, I'm sure he'll have no problems fitting into the team. And I'm sure that we'll be able to compete regardless of who's in, really.
Well, just before we move on to the next section, we have to briefly talk about UWE.
Yes.
Which is Sebadam, Incognito, and Jordan. That's, again, ex-RLCS player Sebadam, backed up by two who I'm informed are 1,700 ranked players. And UWE finishing 25th last season before that pickup of Sebadam. Where do you think they're going to place this season, roughly? Just to anyone who wants to pick that up.
They'll probably make nationals, and if their other two players are truly 1,700s,
16, around 1,600s.
Okay, well, still that puts them at a really strong base to move forwards, because that's similar to what we used to be back with Orion. That you've got one player who can be the control. Like Sebadam for that team then doesn't have to be the star player. He has to be the one that stops things going wrong and lets two 1,600s, they're clearly capable enough, let them be the ones to have freedom so they never get uncomfortable in those higher level games. And if they can do that, that's certainly a way forwards.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Hello. So basically what happened is I registered as I filled in the register form and I put my team name as Sunshades Gang.
Oh wait,
wait, yeah, what
We seem to. Okay,
What just happened?
Oh my
For
God.
anyone who's confused, we've been using the help waiting room as what we've been what we've been putting people in before we drag them
That's
into this.
brilliant.
Someone who genuinely
amazing.
wanted help
What,
with the
you
question.
just wanted help. Oh, no. Oh.
Oh my lord. Wow.
Oh no. Oh.
All right, I think that nicely wraps up that section.
I think that wraps up that section really well. Oh my God. That's brilliant. I love that. More of that, please.
Thank you very much, Zaire and Delta Bacon, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much.
To stay if you'd like. You don't have to
you
run
can
off. It's up to you.
hang about. I will sit silently until there's something that needs to be said.
Yeah, we who are we moving on to now? Is it the
either
middle
Raz
lot?
or I think it's Raz.
I think it's the scope lot, isn't it?
Yes, that's what we have on the schedule.
Yeah, so Keel and Staffs. I mean, we know Keel.
We have Keel pretty covered. Me and Princey are both graduates of Keel. We were on the first team. Big up the lads.
Big up the lads. I mean,
Shout
I say
out,
this. I haven't got them in my top 10 though.
Oh.
I know, and I've already had K3 coming in at me for that. But those did you sort him out?
Yeah, that wasn't Birmingham City's coach.
He is in the server though. He should be in any time now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all thought it was someone else.
There he is.
Yeah,
But,
are you sure that's him?
That is definitely him. Yes.
Hi guys.
Hello.
We'll get to you in a second. I'm sorry, we're just currently on the topic of Keel and Staff. So yeah, I haven't got Keel in my top 10. Keel is now they've had a big switch up. To be fair, they've now got the inclusion of Poddy, a new 1750-ish player.
Yes.
But they have lost Domblade. So their new team consists of K3, Poddy, and Satsuma. Satsuma still being a 1600. The reason I don't have them in my top 10 is I just don't think they're a good enough gel with each other. I think K3 is just a bit too ball chasey, or just a bit too full on. He wants to be on the ball as much as possible. We saw this in his 2v2 play style every so often, just on Tuesday, and I think in, who's, he's not the biggest of players. He was obviously first team last semester. They made top 8 or just shy of it, but he's hesitant when and if he's got someone like K3 charging at the ball, that would increase the hesitancy, because then he's not sure when he's meant to go, when he's not meant to go, and I think that's the reason I have them missing out.
Now, you say that, but when I've played with Satsuma before, I found his specialty to be on the defensive end, and he was making a lot of saves, which I suppose you'd say would lend itself to allowing K3 to be more aggressive.
So so you're saying Satsuma spending most of his time at the back, Poddy kind of in the midfield, and K3 up front would be a pretty...
Yeah, I feel that's the perfect lineup for that team to have success. We just need to see if it happens.
Yeah, and well, joining them from the Midlands, from Stoke, is the Staffordshire squad, which is Adiro, Teisuna, and either Loza or Bread. We're not quite sure yet, as we've only recently learned that Wes and Jackson won't be playing for them.
They will be playing in EURC though, so they want to play in Europe, even though Brexit. But they will not be playing in the UK's own tournament, and I think that's disappointing for staffs, because that's technically your top 2 players. And, if they were playing, they could have fielded 2 really strong teams. So, slight disappointment.
Well, here's the man himself to answer a few questions about that. Good
How's it going, lads?
Mr. Teisuna, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, guys. What about you?
Really good, thank you. I'm going to get your top 10 up on the screen.
So, Tay, what is going on with your team?
So
because there's a lot changing, isn't there?
Yeah, there's Staffs has taken a bit of a hit. Not going to lie to you boys. We have lost both Wes and Jackson this season. So that was 2 from our starting lineup. But we've got some good players coming up. We did have about 7 GCs in staff, so we're still a full GC team. We've got both Loza and JJ stepping up, who have both been around 1600 before. So yeah, it's not the end of the world, but it was a bit of a hit, especially as we were looking to push top 6 last season. And now I think it's going to be a challenge to get into nationals, if I'm being honest. But we're going to work hard for it.
Okay, and have you got is it decided yet between Loza and Bread who the third will be alongside you and Adiro?
No, it's not at all. We've been scrimming. We've done about 3 scrims in these past few days, and it's still a bit up in the air because they both kind of impact the game in a similar way and are both very good players. So I think it's going to be probably as late as Monday when we choose who's going to start. But that's not going to ever be set in stone. Like 1 week we may take JJ, 1 week Loza. 1 week they may even kick me out because I'm just being a bean. So yeah.
So a lot of switching and swapping.
Yeah.
I hear you scrimmed Kiel this week. By the way,
we did. Yeah.
So you have a bit of insight on both these 2 sides, and yours and Kiel's.
Yeah. So we actually beat Kiel in the scrims. Surprisingly, so I don't know. Scrims don't actually say everything, but we went 2 series for 1. Which was pretty good. So that was winning. So that was with me and Loza and both me and JJ.
Yes.
We also scrimmed Bath with a replacement, and we beat them, and then they beat us today. Just now, actually, we've just come out of those scrims.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. So I have a quick question. On your top 10, you haven't actually put an MVP or breakout player at all. So why is that?
There's too much to choose from, really. I think. So I guess if I had to choose on the spot now, I think Vex is playing very well for Bath right now, so that could be interesting. And I'd probably just choose Psycho for how solid he was last season. If I had to choose on the spot. But yeah, there's just too many people to choose from. So
yeah.
Could you give us any insight to Keel's new playstyle and how they fit with Poddy? Because I don't think, I haven't been privy to any of their scrims. They've not asked this season for any sort of coaching or anything of the sorts, and I wasn't able to sit there when they were doing the trials like I did last season. So any information about them would be great, because I'm intrigued. Obviously, they're my team.
I mean, both K3 and kind of Poddy are insane players, and they make like a lot of good solo plays. But when we scrimmed them the other day, and I get scrims don't mean everything, but they kind of felt like they were stepping on each other's toes quite a bit. I think like they would just take the ball off each other when someone was trying to make a play. So I think if they can work that out, then they're going to be dangerous and work more as a two with someone at the back, maybe.
Okay, so similar to what we saw in the twos tournament, pretty much. It's just working out the
I mean,
and when
the thing
and
is,
when not. Which probably they could do in comms, you'd think, but who knows? We'll see.
I mean, in twos you can bim bam, in threes you can't. So.
Yeah. Okay. Should we get this coach Sarah of yours in?
Let's get him in.
Yeah. A brief listen to the BCU coach.
Yeah.
Up here.
Hello,
Sammy.
Hello,
Hi,
Sammy.
guys.
Hiya. How are you
Hello,
doing?
guys. I'm doing real great, guys. How
That's
about
awesome. We're doing really good here today. So
That's good.
let's give us a bit of an insight into what's going on.
you? Well, I've been a coach for BCU and the lower BCU teams for a while now. Generally, over the season, we've just been putting in a lot of work and a lot of practice, scrimming a lot of teams, getting good result after result, just really good stuff to be seen. Really, there's nothing I could fault them for at the moment. What are you doing?
Well, okay, that was a bit...
What are you doing? That's a good question, Sammy. What are you doing?
Well,
so how long have you been coaching these guys then? You said you were doing it a bit before.
Yeah. So before coaching, I've only really been coaching for about maybe 2 weeks formally, but it's more been a lot of data analysis and just really looking into the games and seeing what could be done for the teams. I know a couple of the players really well, and getting to know Magics as well has been good. So I've known them for a while, the Rottweiler an example. And I just let them know what I think they can improve on, and generally it really does good for the team.
What have been the main things that you've been telling them they could improve on so far?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say too much about what.
Yeah, let's not be giving away our secret
Oh,
recipe.
no.
Mate. Let's not be giving it away.
However, one thing I can say is just, well, first of all, I'll just say about each player. So, we got the 3 players. Rottweiler, obviously, known for his ones. Really, really good ones player, well known for it. Example, just mechanically, such a good player. He's up there in the top, I would say, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people would say that, and he's really coming to light how well he can showcase these skills. And Magic's just makes the team just really, really good.
He completes the 3, yeah.
Yeah, just completes it, yeah. Like I say, and together it's. I don't want to big up the team too much, but I couldn't think of a better 3 to be coaching right now. It's really, it's perfect. They're working really well together.
So you think that Trent is possibly a winning team for this season?
What was that, sorry?
Oh, sorry. You think the BCU possibly a winning team?
Definitely, yeah. This three's definitely a winning team. A strong contender, I would say. The way they work together, as well as individually, just they go together really well. The communications are clear. They know what they're talking about. I believe they get along quite well off the pitch as well as on. So it really does help.
Yeah, I've been telling an example over and over again. I just think it's a case of you want to go to LAN, you'll do it.
Yeah.
It's as simple
definitely.
as that. Yeah.
So a lot of confidence coming from the BCU direction.
Yeah. You got to be confident this day, and especially with the individual skill, you can combine them together, and you got a deadly force, I tell you.
Okay, I think we probably should move on to our next group, which we should be getting Raz and Duskmatty in to have a talk about Warwick and Birmingham.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone who has turned up so far. We also have Distan joining us, actually. He was sleeping a little earlier, I believe.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't sound like me at all.
Hi, Distan.
We can... I think, we'll actually have a quick chat on Sussex first, just before we get into those two, as he seems to have awoken from his nap and joined us. Hello, Distan.
I'll add your top 10 down.
Lovely to be here to talk with you lovely people.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't sound sarcastic at all, mate.
Although I do like you because you predicted us as number 1. What's up with that?
Yeah, I've put you as number 1 and I've got you as my MVP.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, Princey, get my DMs quicker, mate.
Oh my god.
Well, obviously, looking through all of the predictions that we've had today, you've been like top 3 in almost all of them. Sussex have.
I mean,
that feels pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
The reason I've put you up there is because when you went on your slogfest against Portsmouth, you were so close to making it already. Like, you were so close to being top 2, and if you'd beaten Portsmouth, you probably could have been the team to beat Loughborough in the finals too, and won it just back then in winter. So I think now you've even got like an improvement. You found this new player, TJX,
TJX,
and he's replacing I'm Private, I'm guessing. So that could just be that little change you need, as long as you and Fisk have been improving as everyone else has. I think that could be the change to get you guys that top spot.
Yeah, I mean, we literally lost by 1 goal against Portsmouth in the deciding game. And I mean, they fully deserved last season. I think they played amazingly, but we were always neck and neck with them. I always felt like that. I always felt like we pushed them more than a lot of people did. Like, when we played, we would always just push them to the wire, and it felt good. We would have off days sometimes, but like, I think they're having TJX now, who he was 1 game or 1 series away from making play-ins himself this season. He's an experienced competitive player. He's he plays a lot of 6-mans, like the official 6-mans, rank B, and he does well in that. And it's nice having someone who because previously Fisk and Private, they had no prior experience outside of NSE, and I had to kind of build their confidence during the games. I would do a lot of motivation work. With a lot of my role is coaching, to be honest, but with TJX, it feels like he has the foundations. He's already he's experienced with a team that play regularly over at 1800 level. I mean, he himself isn't currently over 1800, but he is experienced with the level above there, and he's getting better with that level. So it just brings more confidence to me, because I know that now I have someone who's really feels more experience than I've ever had on a team before. I just feel really confident. And then Fisk is probably one of he's come in, and me and him just enjoy playing together all the time. It's just really fun, and I get along with him in real life as well. So we're just good friends in general, and so it just feels like a breath of fresh air. I really can't wait for the season. I think this could, if there's going to be a season for Sussex, it's definitely going to be this season, in my opinion.
That's really awesome that you actually have that synergy with your teammates and it's coming across like that. But right now, I really do have to ask you, because you don't have one on the spreadsheet, what is your top 10, your MVP, your breakout player, and your biggest flop? Just for the stream.
I didn't make one because I don't really have an idea, because it could go anyway, and I'm gonna be boring, and I just find it hard to place everyone. I mean, I don't want to, because there's always if you make a top 10, there's always going to be a team that's oh, but they could be really good, or they could be really good, and it's everyone's oh, why didn't you say me? And it's I respect. I mean, if we're gonna look at it, I mean, obviously Portsmouth is that's the team I want to beat this season. That's the team that I want to get back for last season. I think they were always our gatekeeper to getting to the top, and I think this season, if we like Portsmouth, are going to be like up there. That's an obvious one. I think Nottingham Trent. They look insane on paper. I can't lie. But on paper, yeah, but I do feel confident against Misty's play style. I also do a lot of like replay reviews, and me, TJX, and Fisk are already lining up. Making sure that we're going to be looking at teams and stuff like that. And we're not gonna hold back. We're really gonna be working on how to play against certain teams, and we're not gonna half-ass it because. This is Sussex time. I'm really chuffed with our team right now. This is definitely the season where I feel like everything's going to fall into place for us. But overall, I think, then you got, Loughborough is going to be up there. Birmingham City. I heard UWE are getting Sebadam. I was like, I'm going to have to message him and say, why didn't he come Sussex, the bastard? But it's fine.
I think we're all asking, why didn't he come to Lincoln?
No one's asking that.
John's honesty is there.
I've been denied again.
What is Lincoln's team at the moment? Are they good? I'm sorry, I don't know your team.
Yeah, we currently have 3 teams at the minute. So I think our first and second team are doing really well. Last season, they both were actually really close in the standings, and obviously, third team, which I'm on at the minute now, we didn't place so highly, but obviously we have Azazel, our Rocket League rep. He's also, I think he's a mod in this server as well. But yeah, Ozzy is still coaching. And that's awesome. And I do think that we can make nationals this season. To be fair, with our top team, it's
nice.
we had tryouts literally just 2 days ago. So it was really interesting to play with the other players from the other 2 teams. The rotations are looking really strong. We have our attacking players. Well, all of our top teams are just really, really quick to the ball. So yeah, it's looking really strong actually for Lincoln this season.
I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for me in general, I find it hard. Maybe an MVP if I was gonna choose one. If I'm being selfish, I hope it's TJX, and I hope he has a standout performance this season. I think it's going to be interesting to have someone who's quite competitively experienced on my team, because maybe I've in the past put pressure on myself to make all of certain plays and stuff and push forward for my team, but maybe I'll just need to sit back behind him at the moment, because he's going to surprise people. I'm not trying to tell people his play style, but I'm looking forward to having someone on my team that's gonna show off a little bit, so it's nice. And I think if I'm looking at other teams, you can't ignore Psycho, the big man. He's crazy. He's honestly I love him to bits. We get along like house on fire, but my God, when we meet on the field, he just thrashes me about. I hate it. And he knows how to play against me, and it's always a mental battle with his team as well. So I would say Psycho would probably be my MVP. And the biggest flop,
Biggest flop,
Salford, in my opinion. I think that
tough.
We will. I don't know if Arski is going to be able to carry that team enough, but we'll see. No, I'm joking. I love Aaron, but I do want to beat him, and I hope we get to play more. But I do think they might. That's the team that, in my opinion, might slip down if there is a team at the top that would. But yeah, that's that. If you guys want some juiciness, there you go.
All right.
Yeah, hot take.
Nice. Okay. If people want to stay, they can. If not, thank you, Zer and Sammy and Taysuna as well for. We sort of ran off away from you, Tay.
We ran away.
I see how it is, you kill lad.
This done appeared, so bigger ego. He just
Oh.
up your ass at varsity this year, mate.
Ooh, we'll certainly be watching that one.
We will indeed. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank
If you
you.
want to stay around, you can. We will now finally be moving on to the teams I mentioned a while back. Let me just remind myself which two they are. They
It's
are Warwick
Raz.
and Birmingham. So we will be getting Raz and Duskmatty in to speak about their teams.
And
so,
here they
I'm gonna
are.
run away before I get my lecture
Hello.
from the other Birmingham side. I'll see you.
Hello.
Oh.
I'll face you. I'll face you. I'll face you. I'm ready.
We've got the Birmingham rivalry in here, so that's probably a good place to start. Duskmatty.
I'm ready.
Are you even on the first team?
Wait, is that something we need to be? Because I'm not on the first team.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm very far down.
I'm here to talk about the men that are ready to destroy. It's not about me. It's about about
speak from the back. Okay, I respect that.
You can get the coach back in if we need. Get the coach. We can get the coach back.
I think Duskmatty, you will start off with your top 10 because that's the one I'm putting on stream now.
Well, before we do that, I think we should start with just their team.
Yeah.
So we I don't think we know too much about you guys really.
You've had a move.
So yeah, if you can just tell us a little bit about your team now, and I mean, we know you've been improving enough, but what's happening with the other two, and who are they?
Well, last season we played with me, Crown, and Freddie. They're all like low GCs, and we somehow managed to stay in nationals by winning just one game every week, so leaving it a bit close. But this season we've picked up Choco, who is like a mid 1600 player. Some of you might know him from a couple of years ago. He casted a few NSE games.
Is he part of the Noble League as well?
Yeah,
I know that name from that. All right, that's a familiar name then. He's already quite big in the Rocket League scene, so that's not bad.
Fancy.
Yeah, and then I'm roughly 1700 now, maybe a bit lower. And Crown is up to 1600 now. So we've got a fairly we haven't got a carry or anything, but I feel like we work fairly well as a team.
All right, because yeah, I think everyone is pretty much sleeping on you in these top 10 predictions. Besides one of the biggest players in this tournament, Tylacto, he's got you guys sneaking in at 10th. I think. Besides yourself,
I mean,
no one
can't
else
have
has
faith,
you anywhere near. So that's obviously got to be a bit of a confidence boost if someone like Tylacto thinks you guys are good enough to make it. You know.
I mean, I hope so. Like, I feel like we can, but there's a lot of good teams in nationals this season, so it's definitely going to be interesting how it plays out. Yeah, we've just scrimmed against Salford. It didn't go too well, but they're all close games, so we've definitely got stuff we can work on still. But
I mean, it's not too bad. Salford predicted everyone basically to be a top 3 team still. A lot of people have them winning the whole thing, so like, you know, if you're keeping the games within close level, it's not a bad sign.
You know what? I might have an input here actually. I heard from Magic himself that BCU scrimmed Salford and won 3-1.
That's not league scrim.
Scrims technically shouldn't be a winner and loser. They should just be.
Yeah, of course. It's as many
so.
games as they wanted to play, but that's what they could fit in.
The real winners are the friends you make along the way, to be fair.
It was a big one. It was a big one.
Believe in us who believe in you. There you go.
All right, is it time to bring in our man Raz Warwick?
Hello.
Raz.
Hi.
Right.
Which
How's
of
it
Warwick's
going,
7 teams do you want me to talk about?
Well, I think it's the top one really is what we want because everyone's sleeping on you guys.
Yeah, everyone's sleeping on me.
Why? Who's playing? What's happening?
Okay, so if you guys remember last term, we had our second team beat our first team. right, to get into nationals, and that was because we had a fresher, Gopher, who we didn't really know very well. Stuck him in the second team, just to make sure we didn't mess up the synergy of the first team. And he kind of carried, or he did very well, and we've decided to put him into this first team now. And so that's our main change. So we've got Warden, Alice the Cat Whisperer, Meow, and Gopher at the top, whereas Timmy, Cotton as the noob have been moved down to the second team, who I would still argue are very, very good.
So do you think both sides will have a place in National League?
I would definitely not count it out. Yeah, there's no reason for second team not to get into nationals other than other teams also being very good.
Yeah, I mean, I want to ask about your biggest flop here.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, so the biggest flop themselves, I'll be honest, I don't know a lot of the teams because I am third team. I haven't gone into nationals yet, but so I can't really tell who's going to be very good, who's going to be very bad. I'm just going off what other people said. But then it hit me: the people that go to fractional geometry lecture themselves are the biggest flops because they could have done that. They could have spent that hour getting some MMR.
He's not wrong.
No, you are not wrong. But they also could have spent that time losing MMR.
They could do, but if they're losing MMR, they can take part in one of the many other things Rocket League does, like ladder, and it's just in-house tournament where you play games, casual games, get ladder points, etc. Who's top right now? I don't even think Wall's at the top, so that's interesting. Also, I want to point out, at some point, someone said that Warwick has no one that's above 1800 MMR. That is wrong. Warwick is not Warwick. Walden has sent me. Yeah, he sent me a photo of his 1870 MMR.
Yeah, he kicked me off the team with for the second set of our LRS qualifiers with Wes and Lou. He took my spot because he'd hit that 1800 mark, and I was still stuck around low 1600.
That sucks. But I can't really say much.
No, it's fair enough. I mean, the guy deserves the chance. He's a really solid player. So,
but I have to pay respects to Princey in the chat.
Yeah, Walden is currently, where is he? I can't even see him. I don't even think he's ranked on our table. No, he's not even ranked on our table. Oh no, he is. He is currently 12th in our ladder. So that's something you guys might want to look at.
How many people as well are in this ladder? Because
how many people in this ladder? There are.
You have a load.
I need to do maths. So I need to count. Hang on.
You definitely should. I'm
4
intrigued.
times 5 is 20 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 29 people in this ladder. So Warden's around the middle.
Stay in school, kids.
Who's in first place?
Learn your maths.
That's a secret for now.
Is this a player that we've seen before, or?
Watch your space, I'd say.
Whoa.
Wait, does that mean someone's first team spot is at risk? Is this an unknown, or is this just like one of the first team that you don't want to big up before?
You'll have to find out, I'd say, or just join the Rocket League server.
Or check NSE, maybe. I don't know.
Just join the Rocket League server. Anyone?
Just join the Rocket
League. I'll go and league.
Yeah. the best Rocket League server in the UK. Go for it. You can join the ladder. I'll give you guys ladder rolls. You get infinite ping today.
Sweet. Sounds just like the Uni 6-man server.
Yeah, it sounds just like Uni 6-man.
I could talk about
that. I can talk about my 50% win rate on Uni 6-mans. Don't worry about that.
I can talk about I can talk about the 240 points Warwick got last term.
Ooh, why don't we talk about that? I think we should.
Why don't we talk about that? Let's go. We got 240 points.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. That's some good maths.
Perfect.
I don't think. I mean, you say Warwick, you're down as your first seed, but you say by sheer number of points.
Yeah.
Do you actually? Can you see them winning? Can you see them coming top?
It's very, very competitive at the top, and I definitely wouldn't rule it out. I know last term we our first team not getting into nationals in first try because they were beaten by the second team did kind of put them in a worse position. But if they are in the top 6, then I don't see why they shouldn't be able to challenge for the top place. But I am C2 and I can't aerial, so I'm not fully sure of the skill levels.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, just quickly, I've seen Matty. Just look at your predictions. You've put Nottingham Trent as your biggest flop. Do you want to tell us why?
Yeah, I just think that considering the quality they've got on that team with Misty and 2 1800s, I think that's a team that can challenge for first easily, but I just don't see it. Just got a feeling.
Interesting. I'll take your gut, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like you're the only person who's put their biggest flop and as well as their top 10 for a team.
I mean, a team that's got that sort of quality on it, 27th, is a flop in my eyes. So,
All right. Well,
I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think it's time to move on.
Sounds good.
Now we'll just be heading to speak about the North because we know the North Regionals is a very competitive place. So thank you, Dusk Matty and Raz, for hopping in.
Thank you.
Feel free to stick around.
Time to lose to our second team. Let's go.
Oh, enjoy.
Enjoy.
And yeah, we should hopefully be getting Ashin Achen, however you say his name,
Yeah,
Soups
I'm not
and
gonna try.
Row in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and say the name.
He goes by the name Ash, I think, so we can just call him Ash. That's probably
good.
make it easier. But if
Oh,
yes, Scenaris,
say
go
the
ahead.
monster intro.
Introduce.
Go, please.
Yeah, sure. So this is the Northern region. Northern promotion race has always been ridiculously stacked. So this season, we've got even more new teams coming into the North who are going to make it more competitive. There have been a few dropouts, so I don't think Leicester have Magu this season, so they're less likely to be a threat. Similarly, Coventry aren't going to have Nello. But if you look at all of the teams that were up there at the top last season, pretty much most of them are going to be back, plus a few new faces. Obviously, Kiel and Staffs have kind of graduated from that to promotion race. Unless they have a really bad set of qualifiers, you're probably not going to see them in the Northern region this season. But there's still teams like Shooting Stars, Leeds, Lincoln, York, Durham. And now we've got these two teams pushing up. Like Liverpool have been there or thereabouts the past few seasons, like sort of just below the level of those teams I just mentioned. This season, they're looking stronger. They're going to be coming up and contending for promotion. You've also got Liverpool John Moores from just across the road. They're a completely new team coming in. They've got a squad full of like 1,600 plus players. So that's, yeah, plus also East Anglia, even if they don't get Flux, they've still got 1,700 players, and I think their third isn't that far behind them either. So you've got about 7 or 8 teams down there who are all good enough potentially to get into National League, but they're going to have to get past each other, and it's going to be a bloodbath every single week. And it should make for a great stream because, as per usual, we will be streaming the Northern Promotion Final as our 4th match of the day after the other 3. Anyway, so I'll bring in our representatives. We've got Action, I think. I don't know.
Just call him Atch. Yeah.
Just call him Atch. He did say in
Atch
Twitch
from
chat.
Durham. We've got Roy from Arctic Foxes, which is Liverpool, and we've got Soups Jack from Leeds.
Right. Welcome,
Hello.
guys. Hello.
Hello. Hiya.
How you all doing this evening?
Good.
Nice.
So, as I don't know if you guys were just listening to the stream before, but Scenaris was just pointing out how very competitive the upper end of the Northern regional side is. And you 3 are on teams hoping, to push your way through and reach the National League. So what do you make of that? Like the competitive edge? Do you think you can push through? I mean, whoever wants to start can, because
yeah.
We've got choices.
Our roster this semester is actually a lot better than our last semester roster because of an addition from our second team, who is like High Champ 3 recently hit GC. So now we've got a team of all GCs, and we're really solid together. Like we were playing ranked last night, and we gel really well. So yeah, I'm hoping we can make a push to nationals, definitely.
All right. I notice within your top 10, you haven't put yourself anywhere in. So you think you'll reach nationals, but do you think you could possibly encroach onto that 10th spot?
I mean, to be honest, I've never played any of the nationals teams, not in threes. So, and I'm a first year, so I don't really know much about the scene. So all I did was like rearrange the current top 10 based on changes. But yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I definitely think we're good enough to take on some of those teams based on what we did in the 2v2 tournament. But yeah, I think our main goal is just getting promoted right now.
Were you part of the 2 to take down Camo and Aaron?
Yeah, it was me and Rista. Yeah. We shocked ourselves with that, to be honest.
Yeah, we casted that on the B stream on Tuesday in the 2v2. They did play very well.
Thanks.
Right, so definitely a team to look out for then. If you can gel with your third like that, then, Salford, who are people's predictions to win the whole thing, maybe Liverpool they should be looking out for.
Sure, yeah. Guess we'll give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Atch, Durham. Durham have been a team that have been around and about. They've always been nearby. They used to be a pretty standard, National League side when I was playing last year.
Yeah.
I think they've slowly dropped out of that, though, as the other teams around them have, pushed up and improved. Do you think you can get back there?
I think people are sleeping on Durham this term because we started in the Nationals early last semester. I think, got up to about 7th at one point. We did have a couple of bad weeks, team absences, things like that meant that we couldn't stay in the Nationals. And once we came down, we found it very hard to get back up. But over this semester break, I think Durham have improved their team, not least. They've kicked me. And so I think, it's got to be the right move. And Zouch, coming into the team, I'm going to be subbing this season. And Zouch is 1650, 1700, I think. So it's looking good, I think.
All right. So in a way, sort of what I've predicted with Bath, a similar setup.
Yeah, I think it's, very, very reasonable for us to make nationals.
Yeah, Modisha's a very solid player too.
To clarify, that's Modisha, Zouch, and H2 champs, is it?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, and Lawrence is our captain again this season, and he's
actually I think I'm sleeping on them as well. They could easily make top 10 personally. I feel like if you're playing well, and you're consistently keeping it up, because those are 3 solid players.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things this time is obviously NSE is largely as much about how well you can play as about if you can get the consistency every week, because if you miss 1 week, you can go down into the regionals and then you have to win 3-4 straight to come back up. So if you miss some team players 1 week and you're not all available on a particular night, it can really hamper that. But this season we've got a sub, which we didn't have last time, so I think that will help.
Yeah. And that seems really interesting as well. But I've also found that you've not put yourself anywhere within that top 10. So why is that?
Well, partly because I didn't just want to come on here and go, yeah, we're going to be a top 10 team. Not least because I'm not playing. I feel that's quite a claim for me to make on behalf of my teammates. And then just have them sort of fight to back that up. But I definitely think it's possible. I don't really know enough about Southern League teams, particularly towards the end of last season and coming over this season. We didn't get much chance to play them. So I have put in a few from the north that I know were doing, pretty well towards the end of last season to round out my top 10.
Yeah. And one more thing I just want to mention, your biggest flop you've put down as Liverpool.
Fully unaware that I'd be going on with Rowe. I put Liverpool down. I have a reason, and it's because I think people looking at how they played in the 2v2 tournament see them as a top 8 in that, and it might be quite hard for them to match that against when some of the teams get their thirds back and they play a more, sort of standard game, I think it might be quite hard. I just didn't want to put any other sort of top 10 universities into the bin, really.
Fair enough. Ro, any words?
I think that's pretty reasonable.
I apologise to him in the waiting.
I mean, the explanation behind it, like, you know, people thinking that we'll do well because of the 2v2 thing, it's fair enough. Because threes is, well, actually, I kind of disagree with that because threes is a very different mode to twos, like quite vastly, because of like team play. A team plays a lot bigger of a part in threes. So, I think our threes performance is going to be kind of independent of our twos, but we'll see.
All right, and I think now it's time to bring in Soups.
Hello.
Leeds, not a team really mentioned too much. You were obviously, I think you were fighting a lot for promotion from the Northern bracket last season, but you never quite made it, did you?
No, our second team actually performed better than our first team last semester, which is a little embarrassing. But we've kind of like isolated the problems that caused that. You know, there's a lot of teams that cause us problems. You know, to name a few, I'd say York, Salford, Durham, Shooting Stars. Like, yeah, there's a lot of different problems. I think there was a lot of times where one good player in a team was getting past us, and we had a team of 3 grand champs, so that shouldn't really have been happening. But we've made roster changes. We've stolen some players from Team 2. Seeing as they did better than us, we thought, you know what? Well, clearly they shouldn't be down there.
Okay, so what's your Team 1 lineup at the moment?
So right now it's me, DX, and Luke, who we've stolen, and we have Raptor as a sub.
All right, and I mean, I can't say I know much about them. So are we talking like 1,600, 1,500, that kind of?
So,
any higher?
So our captain DX, he was the only one out of the 3 of us who like commonly plays in Uni 6 months. He's 16, 17 now, I believe. Like he's shot up quite a lot recently. Like he hadn't hit 1,600 before a few weeks ago. But that was the same with Luke and I. We just hit 1,600 and then dropped again. So I don't know if you can call us 1,600 players. Probably closer to like mid 1,500s, but. The improvement's been quick, and we've been playing together a lot. Like pretty much every night, one of them will DM me saying, "You know, do you want to play some? Do you want to play some ranked?" I'll be in bed half asleep, and I'm like ranked. Yeah. So it's, you know, I mean that's what you got to do to improve those. I'm excited to see how we can perform against actual competitive players.
Yeah, I mean that synergy, having that synergy and playing together is really good. I noticed that you've put Leeds number 10 in your top 10, and you've also called out anyone who disagrees there.
So essentially, every other person who predicted
every
Rumzor's Princey, they're wrong. They're wrong.
Please don't take that too seriously. I had 9 teams down. I should I'm similar to Ro. Like I should put a disclaimer out there. I'm first year. I don't know too much about the UK uni scene for Rocket League, but from watching streams and from discussing it with my teammates who are second and PhD student respectively, they know a lot more about it than I do. So we were discussing it, and we couldn't really think of anyone past the 9th. So we thought, you know what, get a bit of confidence going for the season.
Yeah, that's really good, but you also don't have an MVP or breakout player, but you do have a biggest flop. So that's interesting.
It's gone in for it.
Okay, the biggest flop, it's the same as everyone else, but it's pretty much.
Yes.
But we picked really big. They lost to really good players. Like you can't very easily, you know, come back from that kind of thing.
Yeah, Keel did it.
Yeah.
My first semester, I lost Celereth and Drumzors, and we finished, what was it, just 9th that season or something? Drums.
I think
so. Yeah, so we just missed out on like the top 10, and then I picked up one of the guys from second year and found Domblade, who sadly isn't playing this semester for Keel, but we came about the same spot, so you know it is possible.
Yeah,
well, it is possible. It's just like there's no guarantee. You know, you're basically coming in with, in comparison, you're coming in with unknowns, essentially. I mean, not that I can talk, but no one has ever heard.
No, but I agree
anyone
with
in
you
the league
because
team, but still.
there's new faces this semester as well. That not even sort of one or two new players, sometimes whole new teams that didn't really get together in time for the last semester. Just noticed Suits has put Trent very high up on his top 10. I did as well, just because I think I can really back them to do very well. And that's a place that obviously they weren't even in contention for it last season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I mean, they should have missed it. It's exciting, isn't it, with Trent? Looking forward to seeing them play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
as long as it's not me against them.
and Jack, I mean, who you don't have an MVP or breakout player down, but if you had to think up one just on the spot, who do you think you would have down?
Okay, I have since decided breakout player Misty.
Misty.
Just because it is exciting to have someone from a team like that to come in and see. MVP. You see, it's the fact that I've not really played any of these top teams. The 25th place gang is what it is. But just from looking at the names, I'm well aware that Psycho's a pretty insane player, so I'd probably have to put him up there.
No one's got Trilacto as an MVP.
Yeah.
They don't think he's good for Lancaster. Or even Raffro at that, two players that were pretty much top of it all last year round, all these new people coming through, and the old boys seem to have lost their high ground.
Yeah, well, like Drumsels, I found it hard to ignore Servadan turning up for this semester of NSE.
Yeah, I can't ignore that either.
Plus, with how much he's been, interacting himself with the community.
Yeah,
I just feel like he's putting
in Uni 6 mans and
he's putting a lot into the NSE, much more than most of the other top tier players are bringing in. Scenarius coming in with a very big question. A list of some of the teams. There's only a certain number of spots in nationals that are available.
So shall I pose the question here? Just so it makes more sense to the viewers. So Sin was asking which of these teams won't make nationals. It's Leeds, Liverpool, John Moore, Durham, Shooting Stars, Lincoln, York, or UEA. So someone is going to lose out of that group. Who do you guys think it is?
I mean, number one. Okay, I think I've got three. There's one team I think will definitely make it based off what Atch just told us earlier. Durham, I think they will definitely get through. Shooting Stars, no. They've still not improved. They're still the same three of Astral, Doppler, and McLovin, and I just don't think McLovin's good enough, especially with everyone else improving now, to put them through. And they've always struggled to get through anyway. So Shooting Stars, no. Lincoln, I don't believe they've improved enough either to do that, even with Aussie. They've been close enough last season enough times, but I still think they're sadly going to miss out. York, they missed out. They were so close so many times as well.
Yeah.
I think once again, though, it's not going to happen. Penelope's a bit too rough on his teammates, shall we say, when things aren't going well. A lot, as Sin said, a lot of these teams will miss out because you've got the likes of Newcastle, Loughborough, Staffs, Kiel, all in the Northerns.
I mean, really, you'd think there's only about 3 of them that are going to be in at any one time, maybe 4.
Yeah. So I think one of the Liverpool teams could, if there's a slip up from Kiel or Staffs.
Well, I mean, going back to the twos results, which is where we've the twos tournament results where we've seen them most recently. Liverpool took a series off of Salford, and Liverpool John Moore took a series off of Portsmouth.
Yeah.
So that's 2 very good showings very recently.
Liverpool made it further than Durham did.
Yeah. I mean, threes is a very different format, though, so that is also something to consider. And obviously, I really hope that Lincoln make it into nationals. I'll be rooting for our first team.
There's promotion and relegation every week, I wouldn't be surprised to see all 8 of those in at some point over the season. Yes. And I think maybe 1 or 2 will hold a position pretty regularly, and then 1 or 2 will get in maybe once or 1 or 2 weeks, and then be back down.
I don't know. We were saying that York were a team that were going to be up in nationals pretty much from the beginning of last season, but they never really materialized.
No.
It kind of became a meme that York gets to the finals or the semi-finals.
They were in the promotion match a couple of times.
Yeah, they never quite made it up.
Are Birmingham considered north or south? Because if they're north, there's so many teams from the north.
That's what I'm now
we've
nervously
already
eyeing the list and looking up.
We've got so many teams that from the north that we're already considering, and there's only 8 teams at the start who can make nationals.
Yeah.
So we've got teams like Salford, Lancaster, Birmingham, Loughborough, Trent, Newcastle, Kiel, Staffs, the other Birmingham side. Like these are all teams that people are saying are going to be up there, and that's already more than 8. So one of these huge teams is going to miss out after the qualifying week as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
crazy. So
it's terrifying this season.
We're gonna it might take a while to settle down and actually get all these top teams up, but I think that's just going to be even worse for everyone hoping to push out of the regionals to make it north. To make it into the nationals, because you'll have these teams that probably should have made it, didn't, then they're pushing through.
They're on a grind.
And as Since just said, staying in nationals is easier than getting in. So
definitely
the first few weeks is going to be vital for every team.
Yeah, it's about getting that momentum up and trying to carry that through.
Yeah. But Princy, I was interested to hear what you think about. You're saying all of these northern teams, obviously, but because we have 2 teams dropping out and then 1 team from each coming back in, do you reckon it's going to gradually weight towards the north as the season goes on?
Yeah, I do. It's happened every time previously. The North's just happened to have a heavier sort of weigh-in terms of the upper end of players, and I think that will continue. So we will probably have a few southern teams. I mean, most people, have skipped out on like Bournemouth and teams like that, but they'll definitely be up there. They'll definitely be up there at the start. Definitely, there's no doubt about it. Those teams should be up there. Bath, Bournemouth, Brighton.
Yeah, I mean,
the teams that some people are thinking might slip out. Yeah. If you're in southern qualifiers, you likely do have an easier start, but then it's just having to keep yourself in there.
Yeah, every week it gets harder then.
Problem with some teams is their consistency isn't good enough to at least get 1 win every week. That I think for a southern team to slip up, you need 2 southern teams to slip up at the same time, and then those 2 are fighting each other on the way back up, as well as the others.
And that only has to happen once to unbalance it quite a bit. If it happens twice, it'd be 10 and 6. So it could really end up a very top-heavy, both in the country and the league, sort of standings, and with lots of northern teams.
And I mean, Drumsels, you've got Oxford as 10th as well, so
it's been sitting up there quietly for nearly 2 hours.
Yeah. We actually haven't talked about that. So what is that about?
Who is on Oxford first, please? I could do with knowing that.
It's Calbon, Willow, and I think Jaehyun actually isn't going to be there. I think they're going to use country this season. I could be wrong about that. But regardless, it's either like a 1600 or a 1500.
They're not a bad team. They aren't a bad team. We played them a couple of times last season.
I've been leaning quite heavily on the results from the recent 2v2 tournament. And Oxford, in the group stages, they went undefeated in their group. They took down Bubble Bath, which I'm not sure if that's Bath's.
We casted a match of Oxford's. Calbon was playing very well.
Bath split their best players between 2 different teams. They didn't really have an A team in that tournament, I don't think.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But I know Joel played with the KN, which is not a standard pairing for them.
And they also took down Teesside, which is Teesside, and Nottingham Trent. And then in the final stage, they took down Staffordshire's B team 2-0, which that's quite a good. That's a pretty good feat. Staffordshire have a pretty damn good B team, and always have.
Yeah.
Before being taken out by the eventual winners of the twos tournament, Salford.
Yeah. No, they did very well. I think I would definitely back that if that was standings maybe at the end of the first week or halfway through. I'm just not sure I can see Oxford sticking all the way through.
Yeah.
Atch has definitely hit the nail on the head here. Oxford are on their day can be excellent. Calbom is a seriously underrated player. But the issue for them is that they go to Oxford. They are
they're going to work. Someone's going to do something.
At some point during the season, they will have a week where their best players aren't there. They'll get themselves relegated, and then that's basically their season screwed.
Then, really.
Well, I'm banking on the fact that that's going to be towards the end of the season, more towards the beginning. I've got to throw in a Hail Mary every now and then.
Oh dear. All right, sorry.
Sounds like fire alarm going on.
Fire alarm.
Leeds is on fire.
Leeds on fire.
I'm gonna have to.
All right, don't die, mate.
Don't die.
I mean, I hope I will, but I won't.
Okay. Ooh.
I'd like to say a quick rest in peace to Soups Jack.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, Soups.
Man is down.
So now, how do we think?
I've had 2 streams on this channel, and on both of them, one of my co-commentators' houses have had a fire alarm. On the B stream on Tuesday, I had to do a whole series on my own because one of Supreme's housemates left some bin bags on a hot stove and just chemically burned their entire kitchen.
How do you leave bin bags on a stove?
I don't.
Uni.
This is something that I wouldn't, I wouldn't know.
Well, shall we get back to Rocket League?
Maybe.
Yeah, we've gone kind of off topic here.
Yeah.
I think. Are there any major questions that we have left to answer?
I was going to ask if anyone with a bit more knowledge on National League than me thinks that some of those teams are going to permanently drop out to either northern or southern.
What teams? Which ones?
From the National League, do you think any of them are
Reading,
a threat to? Go on.
Reading now losing their 2 players. I don't think we'll be seeing them in National League anymore. So they're one of the big teams that will fall down and make way for a new one. Yeah. I mean, we've not even mentioned some teams like Warwick B team, Southampton, Kent are another big team. They're north as well, aren't they?
No.
Are they not? No. Okay. Sorry, I don't know. I'm living in Gibraltar. I don't really know the.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you.
You now live in Reading.
Yeah, I know, but I still don't know the British map and all the little I know the main spots, but not the small areas. So yeah, Kent will be seeing probably still up there from the South Southampton as well.
Well, and with Reading dropping out as well, it bounce route in even easier, particularly at the start, and then it's about holding it, isn't it?
Yeah, the South should have a pretty straightforward way in.
Reading's basically a straight swap with UWE. You've got one big team going and new one rising up.
Oh yeah, there's no question that UWE is going to be in National League.
Oh yeah.
Well,
you say that, but at the start of last season, when Misty had 2 Champ 3s, they didn't even get that close to National League. So
it's better than that.
Yeah, and also
it's better,
but not that much.
Not enough.
Yeah. I think in a 3s tournament, it's probably better if you have the MMR as close to your teammates as possible. I mean, obviously, the 2 1600s in the team aren't going to be complaining to have Sebadam on side, but it's going to be hard for Sebadam to sort of exert the kind of influence that he would over a really sort of top-level game like he used to do in RLCS and things like that, because he can't have the same level of trust in the team.
You say the point of having people around your level. Yeah. That's an interesting one to bring up, because I think one of the big reasons Wes is not fancying playing for staffs this season. He says, yeah, we can have 3 1700s, but we don't have that nutty 1900, 1800 player that can be the difference in the big games. And
I think you can look at it both ways, can't you, really?
Yeah. I think if he was supported by 1700s over 1550s or
any improvement is an improvement.
Yeah.
But I think those guys with him will be 1600s and better because, like, Sebadam's just he's nutty, mate. He's like,
of course he
the
is.
difference is
He's
he's
an
not.
RLCS.
It's not mechanics. It's positioning. He knows where to be, and I think with them, it'll be very similar to Tylacto.
Could be.
I do agree. Yeah.
I mean, Drumzels, we did have a player from Oxford in the chat, Willow.
Yeah, Willow's just been by.
Yeah, he's saying that Oxford probably aren't going to make top 10. Not gonna lie, so there's your
Thank you for
prediction.
believing in him.
Yeah, he did thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
I mean, yeah. Really, it's just that people in Oxford have to actually do work, and there will be weeks where they're just absolutely swamped in it, and probably won't get all 3 out.
Yeah. But then how are they going to unwind from all that work? A nice, relaxing, stress-free series of Rocket League.
And they just coil themselves up like a spring for 8 weeks at a time, and then go home for the holiday and just do nothing.
I mean, Sin was saying in the chat, he was saying, when was the last time NSC was won by a team that didn't have a clear star player? So that's an interesting discussion to have.
I think the difference with like having that 1-star player, I mean, the way Portsmouth played the last season, Psycho wasn't put out as their star player. Everyone knew he was because of what he'd done previously. But the way they played as a 3. That meant everyone contributed their equal part.
Yeah.
And then it was the times where he, because of what he'd done and what he knew, he could go that little extra mile to make the difference. And I think, as Scenaris is saying, it's like just having that little bit extra can put you over the line at certain times. I think he was the difference against Sussex when they played. Like Distan played the perfect series that game, but it just wasn't enough to push through. Yeah. And it's the little bits like that. I mean, Distan's obviously a great player as well, don't get me wrong, but I think Psycho's just got the edge on him right now.
Just that little clutch push can push
Matt
you forward.
Matt M, the perfect example for Loughborough.
But then, do you think that once you get to that sort of top end level, you're looking at 1650, 1700 sort of baseline, your standard for a player on that team, even if it's not the star, at that point, everyone has the capability to do something that will turn the tide of a game. And I think it's easy to look at the sort of the player who you perceive to be the star, like Psycho or anyone like that, and sort of wait for them to do something and go, well, that's their impact. They're the star player, but not make such a big deal about it if someone else on the team were to do something similar. Do you think it actually does make a big difference? Because we saw them play without Psycho on Tuesday, and it did seem to make some difference. But is that just due to twos, or was that due to the lack of Psycho?
The twos games was a great example of not having that mechanical god of a player in Psycho. Like if he played, they looked very flat. They didn't have much flair. It was very defensive game. It was a very tactical game. Like whereas if you had Psycho in for either of them, you would have seen a lot more flair, a lot more breaking down the defensive unit of Salford or whoever they were playing, and you would have seen a lot more attacking with a difference, not just awaiting the mistake. And I think like what you were saying is like, everyone up at 1650, 1700, a lot of players have the moments, they get the opportunities for the moments. It just comes down to consistency. When you're up at 1900, 2K, your Matt M's, your Distans, your Psychos, your Tylactos, it's consistency of being able to pull these out the bag more often than you don't.
Yeah.
So I can say that from fact myself. I'm like 1600, have been for a while now. I can sometimes do nutty stuff.
It's not consistent.
But it's like once every 5 to 6 times. Whereas, you take someone like Psycho, he's doing the nutty stuff 5 out of those 6 times.
Yeah, which means in the big game, you can turn to them and go, right, just will defend, have at it, and let them try and get something off.
But on the other hand, having been on one of the more imbalanced NSE teams for a while, you underestimate the difference that having somebody you can leave behind you and trust. The difference
that's
that
the
makes
flip side
on
of it as well, isn't it?
you being able to try those nutty things and maybe making something out of nowhere. Having a good player makes your teammates better as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, something that I know from Durham. We've switched in Zouch, very defensively solid player, as I'm sure any of you who've played against him will testify in the six-man server. You'd happily leave him on your backboard, and that leaves people like Mordisha to really go for things that they wouldn't have had the freedom to otherwise. And I think Salford were looking so solid defensively in the twos tournament, pretty much throughout the whole thing. The reason I've kept them top is I don't know that someone like Psycho, even with, the amazing mechanical skill that he obviously has, would be able to crack that defense. It looked very, very solid. I think they conceded only 2 or 3 goals. I mean, obviously, and that's in 2 as well. I think it would be hard to bet against them if you've got, like DMAC was just saying, that baseline to then work from, because they're not, unskilled players on the offense either.
I mean, DMAC, you're a good one to ask about this. Would you rather have your 3, like, you've got your ladder sort of set up? No offense to Films, but he's probably at the bottom of the ladder. You're in the middle. Tylacto's at the top. Like, just even taking it on paper of ranks. You have that, but would you rather have 2 other people around your level rather than that Tylacto like Films breakdown? You wouldn't, would you? You'd definitely take having like that better player on your team every day of the week, I think.
I mean, sure, there are times where you really wish, like sometimes there are goals that happen that you just couldn't do anything about, that you feel like you wish you'd had a balanced team. But yeah, it really does make a difference to yourself to have the confidence that no matter what you do, there's always somebody that can stop any attempt on goal. Even if you make a dive in as second man, you're still not getting scored on because you've got that rock behind you.
I mean,
as the star player, do you want to leave them back? I'm assuming you're saying Tylacto is the rock in that kind of a situation.
I think that's the way.
Is that the best use?
Clearly, best player on that team should behave.
Yeah.
I've probably scored the most goals on a team in each NSE season, just because I'm given the freedom.
By Tylacto's solid defensive player.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, Psycho's come in and said in chat that he'd rather have 3 solid individuals over 1-star player. The problem with someone like Psycho saying that is because he's already at a high enough level that he's thinking of someone better than him, I'm guessing, and then someone slightly worse than him. So if he had 3 people of his level, he's blowing this whole thing out the park.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be interesting, obviously, to hear his thoughts, like, for why he stated that. But
I mean,
I think it very much varies on whether, yeah, and as Sin said, Psycho's teammates are already above average for National League players, so Portsmouth already have that huge advantage going through anyway.
I mean, we also have to thank Princey for subscribing with Twitch Prime. So there you go.
It's fine, mate.
There you go.
I just realized I had it. I was like, oh, might as well. It's the one I use.
Yeah.
But technically, I'm subscribing to myself now.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a nice little money laundering scheme you've got going on here.
Yeah.
No, I'm not getting paid for this. It's fine.
Oh.
This is Rocket Kingdom getting paid, so they can take my money.
That's all right.
I bring them content and money.
Well, that's good.
Sorted.
Oh, this is...
It's a package deal.
Yeah, man.
Oh, it looks like Psycho might well be joining us too.
Oh, that would be very interesting.
Oh, here we go.
This conversation.
Psycho is coming.
Hello,
Psycho.
Hello.
Yes. How you guys doing?
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, we're all good down here. Right.
So you've been listening in. What is your take then on this discussion of the 1-star or three decent lads?
Okay, so I think the reason last season that there were teams like Sussex, ourselves, Salford pushing for the top 3 is because every single one of those players is able to play their own game and their teammates don't have to worry about what the other people are doing because every single member of those rosters is a really damn good player. So the moment it gets to there being just 1-star player, and I would say teams with Tylacto and Raffro on, those 2 players are absolutely insane. But I feel like they won't be able to push as hard as just a trio of, confident individuals.
I think there's a big difference there, though, because you're talking about Salford and Sussex. Sussex have Distan. Distan, is one of those star players, but he's backed up with 2 above average players. You, for Portsmouth, you're like their star player. You're backed up with 2 above average players. Even, Salford, you're sort of pushing more into like Aaron is getting towards that star player. He's not quite, but he's got Camo up there with him. And then Askey, can be on his A game. He's up there with them too. And then that's also 3 above average players. It's like, when you get to the top anyway, I think most people, like most teams that are up there near the top, have the above average. That even if they have that 1-star player, you've got 2 guys that are so good anyway that you're not worrying. You've got the confidence in your teammates.
I'd be interested to know, Psycho. Sorry, Princey. I'd be interested to know, Psycho, what you think though. Say if you were, trying to pick out a team like yours, you got a good solid baseline. Would you take a drop in 100 MMR or so from your star player to have 2 that are 50 better on the other side? Is that something that you'd do?
It's very difficult to say. I genuinely don't think MMR has too much relation at all.
Would you rather go for the connection, even if it meant a lower average?
I would easily take a bunch of players who are just confident in their own ability. So long as they're pushing past 1700, 1800, all those players are insane. They're very, very damn good at the game. So it doesn't... I don't think those trade-offs are necessary. It just comes down to those guys playing well on the day and being confident in their own abilities and the abilities of their teammates. So I'll take one random example. NSE finals, by far the 2 standout players when we were playing Loughborough were Esper and Geordie, not me. I was there sat at the back, booming balls, and they were so confident in themselves that I could just let them do what they needed to do. And I don't think I can say this, but shitting bricks. Trying to do what I could.
It's fine.
I think that's a lot of pressure on the situation.
Also, before you go back, we have to say thanks to Rowie for coming on because he's just left. So thank you, Rowie, for coming on today.
I mean, a big difference, you're talking about the NSE final. That's obviously a high pressure environment. It's a single best of 7, the winner takes all kind of thing. Yeah. So there's a lot on the line, regardless of, if you have, your setup. And maybe you weren't like, the one man at the top for the final game, but you were there throughout the season.
Yeah. I think their confidence definitely developed through the season. I'm sure that will be the case for all the other teams as well. So another team which showed exactly the same sort of strengths in their confidence across the season was Salford. They came from a team that was very much reliant on Aaron and Camo being offensively strong and not really giving Askey too much room to strut his stuff. And we saw through the season, Askey was getting so much more ball time, and he was actually such a damn good player in his own right. And I think the lads realised that, and they were able to push as a trio instead of as a star player and a few extra lads,
Yes.
No, I think we played Salford week 1 or week 2 of last season, and it was pretty clear that early on in the season, their game plan was sort of we can concede because we'll score more, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you looked even towards just the most recent twos tournament or their performances towards the end of last season, you saw that they were becoming defensively very solid and still obviously consistently outscoring everyone around them.
And with that, I think we can bring in Hemi for his thoughts on the situation.
The big man himself.
Let's go!
There we go. There he is.
Bruh, I'm here to bring the fun to the party. People need to watch to the end just to see me in it.
Okay, Hemi, what are you thinking, lad?
What am I thinking? Adam G is going to ruin all of you.
All right. Well, just before you do that, can I just say, just on the points we're talking about earlier, I think the whole idea of the star player is one who brings his teammates into it. So that's what we saw. The biggest difference is, a player like Raffro and a player like Tylacto. They make their teammates play better. We can go, to what's his name, Magu at Leicester and Penelope at York are probably two good examples of playing individually, and that's what they missed out on National League.
I feel like when you are the star player, you bring the other two players up to your level because they're forced to play how you play. They're forced to play at the speed you are playing at. So I feel like that's a big thing.
Well, that's as long as you allow them to play.
That's the thing, isn't it? Is that the star player has to give the service, because most players, once you get to 15, 1600, can hit, a pretty good variety of shots with decent power and all of that. But they just don't often, if they're playing with other people of their own rank, get the opportunity.
Yeah,
and if they've got a star player behind them who tees up brilliant passes all the time, they will look like they're playing better because they're being served better.
I do feel like when I'm playing with the players from Lincoln first team or second team, just in-house scrims or something, like when I'm playing with Azazel, our Rocket League rep, I feel like I play so much better because of the confidence of having him there, and it brings me up to play to his level because I know that he needs me to play better so he can play to his full potential. So that's my thoughts on it.
The interesting case study is actually going to be Birmingham City having 2 star players instead of what we've mostly seen previous seasons. Sort of matching how Berlin have done in Germany. See if that sort of dynamic, how that affects the third player, whether it outpaces them or if it brings them up to enough equality to be at that level.
It must depend on the size of the gap, you'd think, wouldn't you? If there's a huge sort of skill disparity between the 1-star player or the 2-star players and the others, they'll just be lost. And then you may as well be playing. I think at that point you would take a much more rounded team. But if the gap's sufficiently small, then you would be happy to have someone, teeing up shots or doing amazing plays just because you'd be confident in the other two.
East Anglia as well for Norwich. They're probably like the next level down, but for the same reasons. The 2 1700s and then like the lower 1500 or I think he's like 1500 or something. They're third because they're not getting their star man either. So it'd be interesting.
Hemi, you can pop off now.
Bruh. It's time, lads. I'm sorry, but you've all lost. You are nothing compared to the Bath big men. You will all lose instantly.
Hey.
This season is already finished.
Hemi, I'm the only team to have Bath in my top 10, just saying.
I know, Princey, you get a pass.
I have Bath in my head. I didn't get a top 10, but if I did have one, Bath would be in my top 10.
That's good.
It's easy to say that now.
But Princey, you do also lose a point.
Why? Because they're only 5th.
No, you got Vex, your breakup player.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Who else would he be? Who should be the one then? Because clearly it should still be a Bath player. So is it Joel or is it Adam?
Hemi for MVP.
We start a new hashtag, lads. Hemi for MVP. Who would be the breakup? Damn, I don't even know. It's hard to choose from a pool of rubbish.
Right. So Hemi, you didn't get a top 10 or an MVP or breakup player or biggest flop. So give them to us. Just hit us with all of it.
Okay, so top 10. Number 1, Adam G on his own. No threes team. Just him.
No threes team. Okay.
Yeah. Number 2.
There isn't one.
We're waiting for the number 2, but it's not coming.
No, it's just Adam G.
It's just Adam G. Okay. What about your biggest flop?
Biggest flop, Zoo. He just messaged me now saying to make him this MVP, so I'm not putting him up there. He's not my biggest flop.
Okay, so I see there's a bit of salt going on here. In terms, there's some bias in the Hemi list.
No, I'm completely unbiased based off absolute fact.
Okay.
I only spit straight facts. What can I say?
Okay, it's straight facts from Hemi. He does the 2 + 2 is 4 minus 1 that's 3. Quick maths, and that's how he's come up with his top 10.
Yeah, but what else can I say, lads? What else can I say?
Well, you have a player from Lancaster in here and a player from Portsmouth in here.
Okay.
Do you want to have a go at them for something? Are Bath going to beat these two?
You also have a Lincoln player here.
Speak wisely.
You also have a Lincoln player here, so you know you can go off at me.
Guys, I think you know me well enough. I'm not one to start drama, but you're all good. So to be fair, if I start chatting too much shit, maybe Sin will kick me from the NSE.
Yeah. Okay, so Sin
I
says,
have lost him a lot of 6-man games.
Yeah, same. But Sin is asking briefly your predictions for Europe. So Hemi, hit us with them. Predictions.
My predictions for Europe.
Europe.
Doesn't matter. Hashtag Brexit is Brexit, lads. What can I say?
There you go.
Yeah, might be in the EURC rather than the EU as a whole.
There you go, Chief.
That doesn't matter.
Sin, to give a proper answer to your question, no, I really don't think they can.
There you go. No one can take Berlin on, according to Ak.
I mean, Nagflow's just made RLRS.
Yeah.
I can't remember who he's playing for, but he is
Berlin.
Oh,
Berlin.
is he? Oh,
Berlin.
right.
That was the
I
question.
would be so surprised if Berlin Phoenix didn't win. I would be absolutely shocked.
And Dot's not bad.
Same, yeah. I would be shocked if Berlin didn't win.
No, Dot's a solid player too, yeah. So I think... Who's second then? Psycho, I'll go with you.
I have no idea how
or
good
the Sussex boys.
I know all the players in Kit.
Karl
I know
Schleicher.
they're good.
Yeah.
I know all the players in Stuttgart. I think we played them.
Stuttgart are quite strong. I remember watching Stuttgart. That I casted a game with them. They were really good.
Is Kit the team with Matey, Pads, and someone else? Or
Matar.
Goes by Arno now, I think.
Well,
Goes by what?
I would if my last name was Matter, probably.
What's his new name?
Arno, I believe.
Okay, well they're going to be pretty damn good, but I have no idea how they play. I've never watched them play, so I don't know. What's the pot 1 Irish team? So the DCU Titans. Who is that?
No idea.
DCU Titans, Demox, Arctic, and or Zero, something like that.
I know Arctic's in there.
Demox is good. I know Demox is good.
Yeah, I know Demox quite well.
I know Arctic is really strong too.
Okay, so those two are both insane, so that's going to be pretty tricky. I don't know the third. I don't know Zero. But those two are nuts, so I have no idea how they're going to do in Europe, but they're probably going to do well.
I remember casting a game with Arctic, and he was just really strong. Like, he was a standout player for me.
Yeah, I'd put Phoenix at the top. I'd put one of the UK teams in second. I'd probably put Kit third. Maybe DCU Titans fourth. Then some more English teams.
I feel like Stuttgart are up there, though. Don't disrespect Stuttgart. They're really strong.
Oldenburg aren't a terrible side either. I mean, I don't think they're quite up to the level of the others now. With the ELMP, Smiley, and Ziphias. But I know ELMP's got the title at least, but every time I've come up against him, I managed to beat him in rank, so he's clearly not anything special.
I was going to say, that started out as a brag and kind of turned into a I'm not very good at the game.
Yeah.
Hey, he's still one of the top 4 teams in made EURC, so I don't know. Am I decent? Maybe. This isn't about me though, anyway, so I'm just going to shut up now.
In answer to your question, Sin, I have no idea how to pronounce it. Ivaskila or something?
Javaskila.
A hard J for
Javaskila.
All right, let's go with that. Javaskila.
No.
It can't be a hard J.
They've got the dots on the A's as well, so I don't even know how that
Ivaskila.
And I think he's playing with
Javaskila, yeah, something like that.
Anchor and Maka or something. It's
Maka, Torquicorn, and Anchor.
Anchor and Maka, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll do very well.
Yeah. I mean,
insane. I've not heard of the other two, and that's about.
I think they've always been half decent though. Like at least last year in USC, they were pretty good as well.
I don't know how they'll compete with all the other teams though, because all the other teams are pretty much heard of their entire roster. As soon as there's a guy who you've literally never ran into in your last 4 years of playing, there's a chance that he's a bit off the map. So with Torquay, I feel like he's going to be the strong guy, and that's about it. It's just a one-man army. I don't know. I kind of want to scrim them, see what they're like.
And I mean, that's not to mention all the teams possibly qualifying through, which you could expect a team like Notts Trent, if they're doing well, and they want to push through into something like this to get there.
Back them to get
I'd probably say something like Birmingham as well.
Yeah,
and we don't even know if there's teams across Europe that are in the same situation where they picked up a new player over this break.
Since picking out Rotterdam.
Rotterdam are really strong. I actually casted a game with Rotterdam. They were really strong. And talking about Birmingham, S7 Orc, I don't know how to say that, but just scrimmed with Birmingham, and he's saying they're nutty in the chat, and Magix is denying it. So that's all I'm saying.
That says stock.
Yeah. There you go.
Bruh.
There you go.
I don't know how many of the sort of teams that have been in conversation for NSE top 10 tonight, I don't know how many of them are going for the EURC.
I believe most of them are.
Yeah.
From what I've heard.
Okay.
Like staffs, I think, are taking EURC more seriously than NSE, given that.
Well, if you got in, you would, wouldn't you? But then if you don't rate yourselves to get in, then you might not go.
Yeah. I'm surprised to hear you casted a game with Rotterdam, given they only made a team 2 weeks ago.
It was. I can't remember. I think it was a show match or something. It was one of the show match streams that we did. Can't remember. Well, it might have been some other German team, and I've just forgotten.
I don't wish to. Yeah, they're Dutch. Rotterdam.
Okay.
So you got Rotterdam with Wizard, who's from Drama Alert, and he's made 2,000 MMR last season. And they've got three pretty good supporting players in Juicy, Maxio, and Tangine. They're all in that sort of 1,700 range. Rotterdam.
Oh, jeez, that's pretty strong.
Yeah, and then there's Athens coming in with Akrotic and Sema, who are both about 1,700, I think, and some amazing Greek player that I've never actually heard the name of. Actually, he said it somewhere, I think. I could look it up.
I don't know anything about Athens, so I don't know if anyone else does. So
they're completely new. That's why them and Rotterdam are coming through qualifiers. They are new teams.
Yeah, because most of the existing qualified teams are English or German, with a couple of Italian teams, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's 16 auto-qualified teams. I could post the thing for you. It's already on the...
It's there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's already on the
generalization.
So yeah, there were 4 teams that qualified from the UK, 4 from Germany, 2 from Ireland, and 6 from the EUR winter season, which was broken down as 2 to Italy, 2 to Finland, 1 to Switzerland, and 1 to the Netherlands. The Netherlands should have a lot more. Basically, unlike most of these other countries, they actually have a very strong university esports setup. Pretty much every university over there will have a society. It's just that we didn't get good enough contact with them in time for the winter season. We have now, so you can expect to see a lot of Dutch universities playing those qualifiers, and there potentially could be a few strong teams amongst them. Rotterdam are the only one that I have solid info on right now, but I know that NHL Stenden might also have a decent team, because they've got Noddy, I think, who recently went to them, and I was speaking to their Rocket League vet before they even knew they had Noddy, and he was like Champ 3, I think, and he was saying that he obviously wasn't good enough to be on their team, so that's just got a team full of Grand Champs, and now they've added a Rankast player from Uni 6-mans. So that could be a strong team there as well. But those are the only teams I've actually seen from EU that look like relatively sure bets to get in. I'd say Rotterdam, Athens, and maybe a couple of others. Other than that, it's pretty much down to the British and German teams. And I think you've played it roughly right. Obviously, we've spoken at great length about the British into Germany. Like Germany, obviously, their league is just as strong as ours. It has less strength in depth because they've got only about 60 teams, whereas we've got 120. But at the top end, there's 4 teams in Germany you've got to talk about. It's weird the way it always seems to work out that way. There's always like a clear top 4 in the German league and then a clear drop off to everyone else. So you've got Berlin, Kit, Stuttgart and Oldenburg, who you've all rightly pointed out as being very strong teams. But I don't know if there's anyone else from Germany that's really going to be at that same level. Frankfurt and Hamburg both looked about half a level below.
Munich Missiles, I know to be all right.
Sorry, who?
The Munich Missiles, I think they'll certainly try to qualify, and I certainly wouldn't put it past them. I only know one of their players, but he's a good 1700, I think. So, I mean, it's so impossible to predict. It's hard enough to predict even within the UK.
Yeah.
It definitely depends on the draw, as we know from last year, where the results were all over the place. We had a whole bunch of strong UK teams. Like we had Newcastle and Salford, who everyone was expecting to get in. Neither of them did. And then we had teams like pretty much a whole load of national teams. There were 7 UK teams that made it to the last round of qualifiers, and only one of them made it in, and that team was Sheffield Hallam.
Yes.
Of all teams.
Ooh.
It's,
I mean,
it's surprising, but it shows that if they can on their heyday, they can.
do
So
it.
just bringing that back to NSE for a second, it's possible they can make National League, but
Well, that's the thing. It's all about the qualifiers, isn't it? Really, to get that strong start and really set yourself up well comes down to 1-2 good evenings of Rocket League, and that's within a lot of teams' reach, more than we've probably covered over the course of everyone's predictions.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much got to the end of this now.
Yeah, we've run about 10 minutes over, haven't we?
55 minutes over.
When did you actually start streaming, by the way? Because I sort of saw you live, and then I was like, hi.
Yeah, we were just testing the stream. We've been
chatting for 5 hours.
We've been live for 3 hours and 5 minutes.
That's still impressive.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
Last question to our hosts: having been educated for 3 hours, have you changed any of your opinion?
I think one of there was definitely some change I wanted to make. I think it was actually throwing in Durham into my top 10.
Good.
And I honestly think that would be in place of Newcastle.
I would love that.
And also probably bumping Trent up to about I think 5th, drop Bath down. Drop Bath down to about 7th anymore.
He's upset.
Yeah. No, just drop Bath just a couple places.
No, you keep it there.
And then Birmingham stay where they are in 6th. Trent go up to 5th. And then throw in Durham at 10th. Because I forgot who was on Durham, and being reminded now, I think they definitely are strong enough to
make it.
To be up. Yeah.
Well, having been heavily lectured on my Oxford pick, I would probably agree. There's a lot of teams that could take that 10th spot. Like the top 3, Portsmouth, Salford, and Sussex, are pretty much. I wouldn't move them at all. But anything below that, it's free real estate.
It really is, though.
Yeah, it really is. And Lincoln's there for me. Lincoln is there. I think.
Sorry, go on.
No, I think that maybe our first team this year is very, very strong. And it's not like we haven't talked about it, but I feel like maybe by some players they'll go a bit underestimated and they'll just sneak in there somehow. So, yeah, I think they'll be up there.
Imagine being biased towards your own team.
No, it's because I've seen them play. It's because I've seen them play and I know what they can do. So, yeah, that's why I think that.
The problem is they didn't make it out of regionals last semester, and all the other teams I think have improved more than they have.
But that's because we
no offense to them,
no. But that's because we had 4 teams last season. We had 4 teams last season, and this season we only have 3 teams. So we've bumped players up.
2.
So we've actually bumped players up here. So that's why I think it is going to be a bit better for Lincoln this year.
Yeah, I think Durham will be boosted, if not by the actual change in personnel, just by the availability now that we've got fewer teams. It'll make some difference, I think, just being able to field a team of, 3 Team 1 players.
This season, is there any sort of like draw up of teams in terms of just averages? So just average ranks, just across the board. Is there like a top 10 or whatever for that, or not just yet?
There should be.
There should.
I don't know if there is.
Sin will have that information. I would imagine, because everyone has to do the submission form.
We've gotten a lot of good information from this chat right here.
Yeah.
So we can do kind of a rough draft, but Scenarius gets that done not long before the season.
Yeah, thank you to Sin, because he's been a huge help tonight.
Oh,
shout out to Sin.
It's impossible to come up here and short talk for as long as we have without scenarios.
Without someone providing us with things.
without someone providing us with literally every talking point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think that wraps things up pretty nicely for tonight. Don't you think, boys?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so for sure.
So, thank you to everyone watching. Does everybody want to say bye to Twitch chat and state your names?
Join the Uni RL 6-man server.
Yes, do that.
Yes,
Good work.
RL 6-man's good.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that.
What?
Do whatever you like.
Yeah, exactly. Do whatever you feel.
Do it under threat of death to family.
Well,
but
on a lighter note.
On a lighter note, thank you for watching with us tonight. Pinsy, you want to say goodbye to chat, Drumsels, everyone else?
I just want to say, make sure you tune in on Tuesday, as we will be getting this NSE season underway. Everything we have been talking about for the past 3 hours and 15 minutes now will be beginning. It's in its initial stages on the Tuesday night from 7:15, I believe.
Yes.
Is usually the setup, because you have your captain's meeting beforehand
at 7 o'clock.
And you definitely do not want to be missing these qualifiers, because as we've been saying, the northern qualifiers, you have about 12 teams there fighting for the top 8 spots to make National League in the first place, and that's just the big 12 teams. Never mind, the other ones just behind them. So definitely going to be some high level Rocket League gameplay. You do not want to miss it.
Yep.
Make sure you see us
Make
there.
sure to drop in.
And I will be casting, of course.
Yes, Princey.
So
Drumsall's Princey duo, it's not going away.
Back again.
Like a bad smell.
Right. So I would like to personally apologize for my absolutely awful graphics today to Twitch
Coming in at the last minute, I think you deserve major props for running this all evening.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys. Right.
2 claps, let's go.
2 claps, 2 claps, let's go. Right, so I've been 12 Hackabee Death. Princey.
I've been Drumsals.
Hammy!
Hammy! The power Hammy. And
I've been Princey. It's been nice having you all here listening. Nice to have everyone who has joined us as well to chat about their respective teams or anyone else in particular. Thank you again to DMAC, Atch, for sticking around too for most of it.
Thank you to all of our guests that came in.
Thank you. Cheers for having me.
And
I'd like to thank my parents. I was like, one day deciding I was going to be born.
And we will.
The biggest thank you to Sin, and on that bombshell,
definitely.
It's time to end. Thank you all for watching, guys. We'll see you next time on Tuesday for NSE. See you there. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.